And we are live and in colour. Righty ho, welcome everybody, welcome players to episode 14, I believe, of Paradym Bold, our D&D campaign. So I'm pretty sure everyone is up to speed. I haven't remembered everything. We were discussing whether you guys had decided whether you're going to go to your hometown hit first or investigate the whole vampire thing. I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure they were heading to your homeland first after completing
we were going to
this.
take it in order, I believe. Yeah,
Something like that. So that's all good. We'll get to that. No major announcements this week, apart from one quick one. We hit 12,000 views on Friday, which is awesome. The channel's doing extremely well. We had a few new subs, so we're two subs away from our sub goal for the month, and we are about 12 followers away from our follower goal for the month. So we're on track for both of those, hopefully. So, without further ado, we will just run through our episode 13 recap. After returning to Gatton and organising the funeral arrangements for your fallen comrades after the encounter at Redfield, you retreated back to the guild for a much-needed rest. Het approached Alessandros and had a conversation about his brother's passing and what he should do, whether he should go home or whether carry on and maybe just send a message. Alessandros suggested that the group would follow Het if he wanted to go home and honour his brother's passing at the ceremony. Sadiq also receives a letter from his order in regards to the whereabouts of the vampire he is in search of in the city of Sira, which was about 2 weeks old, but that is the closest lead he's had in a long time to putting him on the right path to find the vampire that he's been searching for. Upon waking, you discuss your next plan of action, deciding to complete the bounty taken from the guild bulletin board in regards to a bandit incursion in the Althstadt Fells. You then set out towards the Althstadt Fells, and as you got to the forest line, you noticed a line of smoke and ventured further forward. The first scout of the camp almost ended in disaster, with Alessandros and Fiala both struggling to climb trees. And some failed checks there could have ended up really badly. The next, Neymar headed out to take a look and was spotted after throwing a stone and bits and pieces. Decided that it was best just to bust through the gates, and basically bandits pulled out from their tents and the battle ensued. The battle was long and hard, but eventually the group prevailed. Fiala's ape demolishing a couple of bandits. Sadiq cut down a few with his flaming sword, and then Mara smashed the berserker's face in with the flat of her blade. This is where we pick up our story with our heroes all bloodied and tired, ready to search for treasures and probably take a well-earned rest. Welcome to tonight's episode 14, Paradym Bold. The prophecy has begun. Right, team. You are standing in the middle of the bandit camp, all bloodied, tired, breathless, just completely exhausted. And body strewn everywhere. You've got in a cage, the cages to the west of where you were standing, you've got the cave bear and a dire wolf still alive and growling and doing their thing. I mean, they've obviously been caged for some time. And yeah, so who is going to helm the search for for treasure?
I will.
So I'll get you to roll an investigation check with advantage, just for the whole group.
Check your Discord chat too, DM.
Yeah, yep.
That would be a 16.
Yeah, man, for sure. Trash. 16?
Correct.
So 16. Someone's got a pen and paper. We've got to write some of these things down. You find after rummaging through some of the bodies, you sort of go around the whole camp. You're sort of searching around. You find 250 gold pieces. You find a fine silver and bronze dagger, very, very well made. Bronze handle, inlaid with looks like silver wiring wrapped around the handle. The hilt all done in bronze as well, and the dagger itself, the blade itself, looks like it's silvered. A very, very fine dagger. Definitely would fetch you a good price. Could be magic. It's definitely better than most daggers you've seen lying around. You find a diamond worth 500 gold pieces. You find a strange-looking jug. It looks like almost like a regular water jug, but there's something about it that doesn't look right to you. You also find an ornate silver ring with delicate feather engraving across the face of it, and 2 potions of healing. You find antitoxin, a vial of antitoxin, which Fiala would have picked up on straight away the moment she saw it. She knows enough about forest and alchemy and things like that to know that that's definitely an antitoxin vial, and a healer's kit. So we got all that.
Oh, you have?
Good.
I assumed Alessandros was taking notes.
No.
Well, you got the sack of crap, so
I'll get notes later.
Alright,
I've got it written down as well, so I can actually send you a DM anyway
That would be nice.
with the whole
Can
lot.
I have another look at that jug if that's alright?
Pardon me. That was me. I'm sorry. It was pretty loud.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was the orc.
Yeah, the
Bloody bear!
the bear just burped loudly, and yeah. So I've sent you a DM trash with the what those items actually are. So just don't take any notice of those.
Okay. Yeah, you have the link for that thing, by the way, not me.
Yes, I will do that in due course. We'll wait a little bit. I'll probably do it during our break. Actually, I can keep the spam going on that. Just remembering.
Hit is sitting down, looking tired.
I'll go and sit next to Hit and look at him and say, "Holy wow, you look as wrecked as I."
Oh, that's good. It's not just me then.
What time of day is it?
Oh, I was trying to think now. It would be definitely daytime. You guys sit out, not early morning, so I'd say probably mid-afternoon, 2:30, 3 o'clock.
I think maybe we should try and have a little rest in one of these tents for a couple of hours just to get back some strength. I know Sadiq's looking pretty.
Yes, if you take a short rest, you can use your hit dice to recover hit points.
Just curious though. We need to barricade the doors of this place. Surely they weren't everyone here. They must have had other people out.
Roll anyone who wants to roll an intelligence check to see if you think that there might be more in this camp of this size.
Well, I got an 18.
On an intelligence roll? Holy jeebus.
Hit got 4.
11.
So Hit gets a 4, Namaris gets an 18, Sadiq?
11.
11, Alessandros?
12.
12, and Fiona?
I got a 6, but I think I'm still an 8, so.
Actually, I think you probably are too, actually. You would still be unless you chose to drop form. I can't remember whether you chose to or not. We'll say you're still an 8 for the point of being. But no, Morris, you sort of look around the camp, look at the bodies, and you determine that this is probably it. I mean, there's normally what you know of orcs and what you've dealt with orc raiding parties around City of Valon before, with your time with the City Guard. You've noticed that the big guy that you took down last was obviously the leader or the captain of this bandit band. With the amount of tents and things here, that was probably it. You're probably quite safe to camp here if you really wanted to.
I recommend doing a long stay.
Yeah, let's fully heal up and then we'll move on to heads.
That sounds good. Was there anywhere that looked like might have food?
Searching around the camp, you've definitely found there's a campfire there. There's there's water. You search the tents, and there's definitely rations there that'll serve your purposes for the evening. The gate's pretty well. One side of the gate has been pushed off its hinges because you literally bust through the gate. So you put a bit of force into it. So the board that would have normally locked the gate is definitely broken, and one of the gates is sort of the top hinge has been smashed and broken away, and it's kind of on a bit of an angle, but it could be repaired if you wanted to take the time.
I don't
And
mind trying to put it back together.
You could rebarricade it if you wanted to be a bit more secure, but there's definitely provisions and everything here for a night's stay without any hassle at all.
Is there a cart or something that we could push in way?
Doesn't look like there's any mode of transport. These guys look like they definitely travel on foot. They've been from where it is and where the road is. They've been able to raid the roads and neighbouring villages and that on foot without too many hassles. So it doesn't
I'm
look
gonna
like
go
any
get the
horses or
horses.
carts.
I'm gonna go get the horses and bring them back in the camp while
Okay,
the guys barricade the door.
Next thing is, what do we do with our guests?
Throw them outside.
So now, Maris, you're going to attempt to repair the gate.
Yeah, but just quickly before I do that, I just want to go over and make sure that panther and that bear are nicely fed.
The wolf and the bear.
The wolf and the bear are nicely fed. And
Namaris, you can talk to animals, right?
I can.
Oh God!
Why don't you talk to them and settle them down and tell them that we'll let them go when we're about to leave?
That sounds like a good idea. So I think I'll do the gate first, and then I'll go and sit down.
Okay, so roll.
I'll tell you what, Namaris, I can probably fix the gate. I have this lovely little cantrip called mending, which I can
yes.
use multiple times, and eventually I can get the gate into a pretty good version of what it was.
With the damage to the gate, you would probably be able to do it with maybe one or two. It's just the hinge. The hinge is sort of broken away. So there's no major structural damage to it. So it's
Oh, good, because mending
yeah.
only does like a square foot at a time.
yeah. So you'd probably be able to do it with a couple. It won't fix it 100%, but it'll make it usable with a couple of uses of mending for sure.
So heads over and starts playing a nice little ditty, and watching just as he's just going to sit on the ground, weaving a spell with his lute, hoping the hinges hold.
No worries. So yeah, as you sit there and you cast, you're sitting there playing your tune and you're casting a spell. You watch as the gate sort of slowly comes upright and the hinges sort of the bits and pieces knit back together, making weird and strange noises as the wooden hinges sort of rebind. And it's not 100%. Definitely, you can still see there's damage there, but it's become serviceable, and there's plenty of lumber lying around and bits of wood in that you'd probably be able to find a log big enough to re-barricade the gate from the inside without too many hassles if you went for a bit of a search. So, well, definitely the gate has been repaired to a serviceable level.
Right, and while he's doing that, I'm sitting there casting Speak with Animals as a ritual and having a chat with this bear.
So it takes you a minute to cast the ritual spell. Does that require any components, by the way?
Nope, she's
No?
vocal somatic.
Okay, cool. So you sit there in front of... which one are you going to talk to first, the bear or...
I think we'll talk to the wolf
the
first,
wolf?
because he's looking a bit more agitated.
Yeah, the wolf is pacing the cage is almost too small for it. He's sort of turning around and sort of trying to pace backwards and forwards in the cage, but he's a little bit sort of in a tight space. So he's not happy. He's growling and sort of looking at you like your food, because he looks pretty hungry. So it takes you a minute to cast the spell, and you cast the spell. What are you going to say to the wolf?
Well, first of all, I grabbed something as I was walking past a bit of meat, and I'm gonna throw it at him. So I hear you look hungry, but we're gonna let you guys go just as soon as we've had a rest and get you back to your family.
And he hungrily takes down that meat. Just one gulp, it's gone. And he sort of paces back and forward and looking at you, and in a sort of sideways look, sort of turns, growls a little bit, and then turns again, looks back at you, and sort of says, "Thank you. We've been here for weeks. Those orcs never fed us well," and growls and sort of snuffles loudly.
Right, if I let you out, because there's meat in that thing over there.
Let me out and I'll eat one of them frickin' orcs. Asshole's been keeping us here for weeks without any food. And he again gets really agitated and starts sort of turning and growling.
Calm down. Just calm down. And
Sorry.
I'm just gonna open this gate.
So you're gonna open it?
I am.
And as you reach towards the cage, the latch on the cage, he sort of almost recoils back a little bit, and then again growls, but not in an aggressive manner, and sort of haunches back down, allowing you access to the cage. You get the impression that anyone else has been trying to get close to this cage probably lost a finger or maybe even a hand, because there's a bit of dried blood around the cage handle and along in the front of the cage there. So you open the cage. It's not lock. It's just like a latch from the outside. The wolf again stands up, sort of shakes a little bit, steps out and stretches, and you now see the full size of this wolf. It's a dire wolf. He's dark grey across the top of the body, sort of fading into a lighter grey and into sort of a white down to the paws, down his chest. And he sort of looks, almost as he stands up, and almost looks you directly in the eye. Light grey, piercing eyes, and sort of shakes his head, and just in that growly sort of deep breath, "Thank you," and just turns and heads straight for the orc captain and just rips into him. And all you hear is the crunching of bone and the tearing of soft flesh as he hungrily just rips into this guy.
I probably should have warned the other guys that he was going to do that.
Yeah. Everyone else make a wisdom saving throw for me, please.
Well, I'm not there, so I don't have to.
No, you're still off getting the horses.
Yeah, well, that Dungeons Dragon dice roll doesn't like
What'd you get?
that one.
And that one, oh shit. So, yeah, Alashon, the moment that Namaris opens, you see her open the cage and you freak instantly. And without even realizing it, your form drops. You've just completely freaked out, and your form drops to your natural changeling form. And you don't even realize you're frozen in place as this giant wolf steps forward and literally starts walking in your direction towards where the bandit captain is. As he turns, sort of looks at you and turns and starts to munch down onto the captain, you sort of regain a little bit of composure, but your form is now dropped. You are no longer in your human form. Fiala, you were still in ape form.
Yes.
I would say you probably got another maybe 10 or 15 minutes before that drops anyway. Make your wisdom saving throw with advantage. So roll twice, take the highest.
17.
17. You, with your animal knowledge and the fact that you are a druid, you see the wolf being released from the cage. You do have a concern initially, but then you you kind of understand exactly what's happening, and you sort of the body language of the wolf and the way that he's moving. You know he's hungry and he's going for food. Obviously, the closest food available is the dead bodies, so you're not really too concerned. Hit, what was your saving throw?
Hit also rolled 17.
17. Again, I think with Hit, your concern was more for Neymaris initially, letting it out. You were thinking, oh shit, what have you done? And
That's exactly what I was thinking.
and then again, with your just with your whole hardy constitution, the fact you're dragonborn, you sort of know that you could have defended yourself and others if this sort of got out of control. But you're pretty good at reading people's body language, and animals are much the same. You could tell the thing was hungry. It was going directly for the corpse, wasn't looking at anyone else in particular. So you were pretty much okay with the whole situation.
Excellent.
Neymaris, back to you. With you've now let the wolf out. He's having a meal.
I turn around and kind of say to the guys, it's alright, he's just gonna chow down on this fella and then he's gonna make his way. And I'm just gonna talk to the bear and probably do the...
Yeah, thanks for the warning. Yeah.
I'm
Maybe.
sorry.
So Hit and Neymaris, you both obviously turn and look with Alessandra speaking, and you both notice that she's no longer in human form. She hasn't realised that her form has dropped. You guys notice it. Fiala, you're still in ape form. You've probably noticed it, but are not really paying too much attention, being in your ape form.
Ali, did you not get dressed this morning, love?
No, I look like. Oh shit. Okay. Thank you.
And with that, you reinstate your human form. So Neymaris, the bear. So you move on to the bear's cage. Still being able to speak with animals. How long does that last?
10 minutes.
10 minutes. And the bear sort of looks at you and goes, "What are you looking at? Filthy human."
Well, you've got a choice. I can either let you out and...
You let me out of here, I'll rip your face off.
That's
And
your choice.
growls angrily at you.
Well, I throw him some meat.
He sort of
I
sniffs
guess
at
he
it.
might be hungry.
Sniffs at it and sort of goes, "What's that? Smells funky.
What do you eat?
Humans mostly.
What about orcs?
No, they taste funny. And they
Well,
smell
I'm
bad."
sorry. I was going to set you free, but if you can't come to any agreement, then you're stuck, I'm afraid. We're just...
Well, you
here
set
to
me
get
free, I'll go
people-
find my own food. I could just rip your face off, though. I like ripping faces off.
We could try. If I set you free, you're going to go straight out that gate?
Maybe.
Because that lady over there, see that one that went funny for a second, she's a wicked shot with a crossbow and she'll get you straight through.
That puny thing. I'll pick my teeth with her bones.
I just kind of turn around and look. Can I drop this base sense?
No, you can't. You'd have to recast it if you wanted to drop it.
Crap. I was just going to talk to Ali.
Well, the thing
Okay.
is, you can. You don't know that the bear doesn't understand common. Like, you're talking to him in bear, so no one else understands what you're saying.
Alright.
As far as Hit and Alessandros and everything else, you're growling and grunting and making bear noises, and the bear's doing the same to you. That's all
Alright,
they
well,
hear.
I kind of turn around and yell at Ali. Can you just...
Just so you know, I don't have a crossbow.
You don't have... don't
You wouldn't have understand what she said.
I turn around and I look at Ali and I'm like, can you just fire? You don't have an arrow, do you? Throw one of your daggers and hit the...
Oh shit.
Let's get him. Are you going to throw one of your daggers to hit the cage?
I'm not sure if I trust my rolls.
Well, it's up to you. It's either can help Neymaris out or say no. It's up to you. Your choice.
Alright, we'll give it a shot.
Okay, roll to attack. Just roll a
Roll.
d10 and add your attack modifier.
Yeah, not good.
Alright, well, I'll
Right,
take
what
that.
was the roll?
Hang on. $11.
11.
It doesn't matter. Hit sees this and casts prestidigitation, and he makes a spark just on the bar as if it hit anyway.
fair call. I'll allow it. That's good. That's good for flavour. So yeah, as you throw your dagger, it goes wide. I mean, it literally flies past the cage and sort of skids into the earth. But right at that moment, hit cast prestidigitation, and you hear that sort of thunk as the dagger hits the wooden cage, and the bear sort of flinches and sort of says to you, Damaros, just all right, just set me free. I'm out of here. I hate the smell of you people anyway. You'll stink.
I take out my great sword. Just kind of
Your
hold it
sword's
between
a
my
great
knees.
sword now.
You get it right this time.
I got it right, woohoo! And I just kind of put it, hold on to the hilt and put the blade on the ground as I open up the cage and look at this bear and say, well, now you're free.
So as you reach, again, same thing, you reach to open the cage, you get the cage open like a foot, and the bear just busts through on you, knocking you on your ass. Actually, roll a dexterity saving throw.
I'm gonna quickly rip off an orc arm like a baseball bat.
9. Yeah, the cage, so you're not expecting it, and the cage smashes you in the face and sits you on your ass. You take no damage, but it just sits you on your butt. And the bear is beeline for the gate. He not interested in you guys at all. Just straight for the gate, through the gate, and it's gone.
Head creaks the gate open as much as he can. While he notices Fiala's ape ripping the arm off an orc like a baseball bat.
And the bear is gone, like he literally disappeared. And the wolf sort of sees this and reaches down and does exactly that. Rips off the orc captain's arm in his mouth and does the same thing, bolts for the gate and disappears into the forest.
Bye!
So you now have empty cages in the bandit camp, a few dead bodies, and supplies, tents, everything at your disposal. It takes Sadiq maybe 45 minutes to get to where you tied your horses up and returns with them. You're able to bring them into the compound and tie them to the cages so they can't disappear on you, although they can't really go anywhere if you close the gates. There's water and everything there, so you can water your horses. There's probably grain. There's probably a bit of grain and stuff around. You could definitely feed them as well. Excuse me.
He picks up a rock from the ground.
What was that?
Sorry, you go, Fiala.
I was just saying, what time of day?
By now, we're probably looking around 3:30, 3:45. It's taken about an hour and a half to do all this. By the time you've sort of dealt with the animals and Sadiq's gone backwards and forwards with the horses, your ape form is probably now dropped, so you're back to human form.
Are you still holding a severed arm?
No, I'm gonna go to the campfire and druidcraft to light.
Druidcraft to what, sorry?
To light the campfire.
Okay. Campfire's probably still got hot embers in it. It's not like out, but it definitely would probably need a bit of a booster. So if you throw a few more logs on and druidcraft a fire to bring it back to a roaring fire, you can definitely do that. And you have a beautiful roaring fire. By now, Sadiq, you're back. You can close and bar the gates if you wish.
It will give him a hand.
Close and bar it and say, I see we got rid of the bear and the wolf.
Yep, you're quite lucky to come across them, actually.
You would have probably heard the bear take off through the woods because he wasn't quiet about it. Wolf probably not so much. You definitely would have heard something large crashing through the woods as you were heading back with the horses.
Yeah, and I also noticed that everyone's got their arms and legs and For some reason, Fiola's still got an arm in her hand.
Yeah, well, she didn't say she dropped it when reverted to human form. So she probably does still have a severed orc arm in one hand.
Oops.
You up for a game of orc ball?
The bandit captain is missing probably the good portion of his torso and an arm. Even though like his face has probably been pretty well smashed in as well. But you do still have several dead bodies around the place. Now that you've looted and searched the place, you could it'd be your choice what to do with them. Leave them there, put them somewhere, put them in a tent, put them outside the campground. It's pretty much up to you.
No, probably
loot them.
Oh, we've already looted them. Probably throw them like over near the tower. Pack them up over there.
It might be worth just setting them alight.
We can do that when we leave.
I agree with that one.
Cool. So, is there anything you want to do before you guys turn in? So, I mean, you can still wait it out until nightfall. So you're still sleeping at night. You've probably got 2.5 hours of daylight left before the sun will start to set. So, is there anything you want to do in that time?
I'm going to identify those potions so we know exactly what they are.
Okie dokie. I gotta remember what they are myself. Here's my notes. So you sit down. Do you have an identify smell, or have you got alchemy?
I got an alchemy supply kit.
Okay, so let's roll a d20. Are you proficient in the alchemy set?
Yes.
Okay, so roll d20, add your proficiency.
And does anyone have identified by any chance?
That's a 15 on the check.
Okay, so the potions that you found in this particular loot, you had 2 potions of healing, which were just the standard potions of healing, and there was a vial of antitoxin, which should be on D&D Beyond, and there was a healer's kit. That was pretty much it.
What was the actual what level was the healing?
Just the standard healing potions. It's just a standard 2d4 plus 2.
I'm gonna take them if no one minds.
No, you can have them. It's good. I have 7 if anyone ever needs them.
Yeah. I'll also say that you probably wouldn't be able to identify the jug either, but not with alchemy. Actually, no. Maybe you could. Actually,
magic, but I can't identify.
Yeah. Actually, I'll give you the jug as well, because you've seen one before, Sadiq, with that roll. You sort of look at the jug and you sort of look and you go, shit, I've seen one of those before. And it's an alchemy jug, and that is also on D&D Beyond. If anyone would like to look at it, what it does is, when I remember myself, what it does. 1 second. The alchemy jug. A ceramic jug appears to hold 1 gallon of liquid, weighs 12 pounds, whether full or empty. Sloshing sounds can be heard from within the jug when it is shaken, even if the jug is empty. You can use an action to name 1 liquid from the table below, there's a few. You got acid, basic poison, beer, honey, mayonnaise, oil, vinegar, water, fresh water, salt, or wine. Basically cause the jug to produce the chosen liquid. Afterwards, you can uncork the jug as an action and pour the liquid out, up to 12 gallons per minute. 2 gallons per minute. The maximum amount of liquid the jug produces depends on the liquid you name. So they all have a different amount of on the table, which if you add it to your inventory, it'll tell you what that table is. You're not transmitting.
I said, can I pick that up? I like the sound of the mayonnaise to go with the eggs and mushrooms.
Oh God!
And oil and vinegar.
Ugh.
It's got to be.
I believe Sadiq might have a good use for it as well, being an alchemist and all.
No. Namaris can have it.
Thank you.
You just know when we need some salad dressing, she's got it.
Pretty much.
Yeah, so that should be on D&D Beyond. Alchemy Jug is what it is. What it's called.
Mushroom sauce, I can see it now.
And and did you want to cast Detect Magic by any chance there, Hit?
Yeah, I can't obviously identify, but I can
No.
detect magic on any of those leftover items. So
So
I shall take the
yeah.
10 minutes as a ritual.
Okay, so you sit there and spend the 10 minutes muttering the words and going through the ritual. And on the completion of the ritual, the bronze and silver dagger lights up. The ring, the ornate silver ring with the feather engraved on it, also lights up with magical essence.
Okay. Looks like, Ellie, it looks like a couple of those items you've got emitting a magic of some description. The ring and the dagger, the fancy looking dagger. Both of those are glowing this lovely blue hue.
A blue hue, you say?
Blue hue.
Blue you?
Blue hue, yeah.
Easy does it, easy.
Is this like that semen joke?
It's right up there.
Wow. Hang on a second. I was going to make sure
Right.
I've got the right thing here.
I'm going to go pick a tent and turn and take my full 8 hours because I
Okie
need
dokie. So everyone's going to turn in. Nothing else you wanted to do in that 2-hour period?
Hit was wondering if we all actually needed to turn in. Would it be easier if Hit healed everyone and we carried on?
That is purely up to you guys.
Probably best to save your spells, Hit, in case we get into any more predicaments. Isn't that right, Mark?
Yeah, that battle, I think I saw a lot of spells flying around, so some
Correct, you
people
did.
might need a rest.
How are you looking, Fiala, as far as spells?
I can still fight, but
Okay, it's fair. If we all need a rest, then that's fine. Hit was happy to wave asleep if you guys were in a hurry, but if not, that's just fine.
Well, do we need to be in a hurry to get to your hometown?
Oh no, I was just curious if anyone wanted to continue on. It's completely all right. This actually looks like as good a place as any to camp, considering it's a camp.
Yes.
Agreed.
Yeah, it's completely secure. Like unless someone literally broke down the gates like you just did, no one's getting in.
I don't need as much rest as the rest of you, so I can rest and take a watch if.
Because you only need 4 hours, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can take watch as well.
So
Excellent.
you can split the
Peaceful sleep.
watch, and Fiala only needs 4 hours, so she could take 1 4-hour watch either at the beginning or the end, and someone else can take a watch. We'd probably need, depending on whether you wanted to split your watches over the 8-hour period, you're going to need Fiala to do 1 4-hour watch, and then 2 people to do 2 hours to get everyone to get their rest.
I don't mind doing a watch.
I don't have that much health to regain, so I can do one stint by myself.
Yeah, so you can do a 2-hour watch on your own. That's fine. You still need one more person to do another 2-hour watch.
I can.
You can? Okay.
I'll do it by myself. I don't
So
mind.
who is taking the first watch?
I'll take first watch.
take first
you guys
watch?
can go and rest.
So we'll leave Fiala till the last watch so you get your full 4 hours meditation. So we'll do Nemaris, Alessandros, and then Fiala. So, Nemaris, you're taking the first watch on your own. Whereabouts are you going to be situated within the camp?
I'm gonna climb up the tower.
You climb up the tower? Do you have dark vision?
Mm-mm.
You don't. So there is a torch in the tower, which you can light if you wish. It's up to you whether you decide to or not.
I don't think that I'll need to, because at the end of the day, if there is nothing able to come in, I'll light it if I need.
Okay, so you don't light it. So roll a perception check with disadvantage because you're in pitch black or nighttime. There's a full moon out, but it's still
10.
dark. So 10. What's your passive?
My passive.
11.
What is it? Perception is
13. What's your passive?
10.
I see passive's 10, and you rolled a 10. Okay. Yeah. So during your 2-hour period, you don't really notice anything. I mean, you can't see anything really more than a foot or probably maybe 5 or 10 feet out past with the moonlight, out past the wall of the camp into the forest. There's lots of shadows and lots of sounds of animals. Obviously, typical forest sounds. And that's pretty much it. So your 2 hours goes without too many hassles, nothing out of the ordinary. Not that you would think was out of the ordinary. Just a regular foresty evening in the moonlight, a few stars, a little bit of cloud, but nothing too much in the sky. So your 2 hours goes pretty much unhindered. So up the tower, you sit up there, get a little chilly. Start a bit of a chill in the air. You then come back down the tower, head back towards whatever tent Alessandros is sleeping in, and you wake Alessandros up for her watch.
I prod her, and then I shake her, and I pick her up by the feet and drag her out into the cold.
There's no response so far. She might still be asleep.
Allie!
I'm awake. Jesus.
You're lucky I was about to throw some water at you. And I've got a jug that can pour 12 gallons.
I'll be fine, thanks. I'm up.
So, Alessandros, whereabouts are you going to situate yourself?
In the tower.
In the tower. Do you have dark vision? Oh, you've got your goggles, don't you?
I got my goggles.
You got your goggles on. So roll just a straight perception.
Bloody hell.
Another low one. What's the low roll? Come on. What's the roll?
We'll go with 13.
Are you passive?
That's a passive.
What did you
I
actually
rolled
roll?
a 9.
Jesus
The
Christ.
roll was a 9.
9. Oh, shit. You with your dark vision goggles, you see it. You're actually kind of enjoying this because you're not used to being able to see in the dark. So you can see a bit more than you usually able to see, and you notice a few standard wolves sort of milling around the camp. Nothing out of the ordinary. It's just that they're sort of sniffing around. They can obviously smell the dead bodies. You notice again the same sounds that Namaris heard, the sounds of the forest, trees sort of moving gently in the wind, the sound of rustling leaves. Yeah, that's not a joke, Trash. You need the proper fucking dice, man. That's just pretty. Those rolls are shocking. But yeah, so you don't.
Dice roller that you showed me. I mean, come on.
I know. Who would have thought a dice roller would fucking jerk you around? I mean, seriously. So your shift goes without too many hassles. You don't hear anything out of the ordinary. It does rain lightly, just for about 30-40 minutes. It's sort of a light misty rain, but nothing too heavy that would be a concern. That sort of clears up after a while. Clouds sort of roll in and roll out again, and that moonlight sort of still hangs high in the air. You then descend from your tower, chuck a couple logs on the fire to keep it going, and you then proceed to wake Fiela for her watch.
Gently. Wait.
Aw.
You sure you want to wake her gently? You don't want to shake the crap out of her or something?
What, like Namaris did tonight? Don't worry, Namaris will get her soon.
So you gently wake Fiela. Fiela, you now wake for your watch. Alessandros, you retreat back to your tent of your choice. Slip back into a slumber. Now, Fiala, you got a 4-hour watch ahead of you. Whereabouts you situating yourself within the camp?
Somewhere high up, maybe the tower.
So in the tower. So you perch yourself in the tower. Can you make a perception check, please? You got dark vision, yes? I believe you have. So just a general perception check for your, we'll say for your first hour.
Nat 20.
Nat 20. With your elven eyes, you see everything. I mean, it's the moon's out. This is your time of night. The forest is your place. You hear everything. You hear all the animals, the different animals making different noises. You've now seen a cave bear and a dire wolf, and you were excited about that because the cave bear you've never seen before. So you now know that's a new form that you can shapeshift into. You've seen wolves, but never a dire wolf. So you now possibly have the ability, based on the stats, to maybe shapeshift into a dire wolf. You're not 100% sure, but you know you will be able to at some stage in the future. Nice one, Bigger. So as you're sitting in your tower and you hear in the distance the roar of a stag, and it sounds different than what you've heard before. It's large, definitely larger than an average stag. It sounds quite big, and it sounds rather near too. You sort of can't really pick the distance. Roll a wisdom saving throw for me quickly, please.
15.
15. You sort of look around and look to the direction of the sound, and right on the tree line, in the moonlight, and it's just the moonlight itself is really makes this stag stand out. A really large pure white stag, 12 to 14 point antler spread. It's massive. Your estimate probably stands nearly 6 feet tall at the shoulder. It is huge. Something you've never seen before. And it absolutely fascinates you. You're excited. Your heart starts to race. But at the same time, something seems familiar about this stag. You know you've definitely not seen one before, but the presence of it seems familiar, seems comfortable. You descend the tower without even thinking about it. You open the gate and you walk out to the forest. You walk to the direction of the stag, and the stag sees you, looks directly at you, then turns and just walks slowly into the forest. Not scared, it's not spooked. You notice it makes no sound as it walks. You follow. Just as you catch a glimpse of it, it disappears behind another bush or another tree, and you sort of quicken your pace a little bit to keep up. For about 5 or 10 minutes, you do this until you reach a small clearing, and in the middle of the clearing, the stag is standing facing you, looking directly at you as you break the edge of the clearing. Again, your heart races. You are not sure exactly what's happening here, but you're not feeling uncomfortable, you're not scared, you're not anxious, you're not nervous like you normally have been. You seem 100% at ease. Make another wisdom saving throw for me, please.
6.
Just as you you go to say something and you stop yourself. You sort of think, shit, if I say something, I might spook this thing. But at that moment, the whole form shifts and starts to become more fluid and changes. And within 2 or 3 minutes, real slow forming and shifting of shape, you now see before you Begilia, your once friend, mentor, father figure, the man that your family left you with all those years ago. You take a step backwards, take a deep breath in, you're shocked. He's dead. Well, I thought he was dead. maybe he's not dead. All these thoughts run through your mind, seeing the man that you once virtually called father. He raised you. He taught you everything you know about druidcraft and the forest and how to survive. And he just stands there staring at you, doesn't say anything for 3, 4, 5 minutes, it seems like. Then he speaks. Fiela, my child, you've grown into a fine young woman. I'm glad to see you have left that place to explore on your own. I am not here, per se. I can see it in your face. I did die, if that's what you're wondering. But I've ascended somewhat to a new form, where I'm at one with all things living, forests, birds, the animals. It does take a lot of energy to appear to you in this form, but the prophecy that has begun has shifted the energies within the realms, and this form and this shift has allowed me to come to now. Stag is one of my many forms in this realm. As Modius is altering the realms, the veils are now thinned. I know you and your companions, which I hope they are treating you well and you trust them. You have become entangled within this prophecy. You have not started it. I don't know if you had anything to do with that. I don't think so, but you are now part of it, and you are on a path to intercept and hopefully bring this prophecy to an end. I know your fears too. Your mother left you with me to hide you from certain death. The drow will rise again. This, I fear, will shake you somewhat. Be strong. You yet may avenge your family's death. And he then takes a few steps towards you. Roll another quick wisdom saving throw for me.
14.
14. You, that same nervous energy that you've had walking into a large city, coming from being on your own for so long after Bagilia's death, being around people, the anxiousness that you felt, that sort of rises in your chest again as this man who should be dead, he should not be standing in front of you, yet he looks 100% corporeal. He's definitely there. Walks towards you, and from under his white cloak he brings out a dark green piece of material and hands it out to you, holds his hands out for you to take it. Do you take it?
I reach out and take it from
He then says, I'm always with you, my child. Just call if you need me. I'll be there to guide you the best I can. And with that, he then shifts form once again into a giant grey eagle, who then lifts off and just swoops into the night sky and disappears into the darkness. What he's handed you, as you look down and sort of open it out, it's a dark green cloak with a hood. You, without knowing, you know exactly what it is. It's almost like the memory of this thing's been there all along. You know exactly what it is. It is the Cloak of Begilia. It is in D&D Beyond, so you'll be able to find it in your equipment list. So just search Cloak of Begilia, so Bigleia, I think it is. It'll definitely be there. You also feel that bond has come back with your mentor, so you now also probably have to put this into your notes, because I don't actually have a spell for this. Once per day, you roll a d20 plus half your druid level, rounded up. On a 15 to 20, you gain advantage on all saving throws for 5 minutes. On a 20 plus, you gain advantage on saves, ability checks for 5 minutes, and on a 25 plus, you also gain advantage on attack rolls. So I'll DM that to you in a Discord so that you can just add that to your notes. You can do that once per day. You can call Begilia's, basically call your mentor to aid you in any way. And that'll be based on a wisdom save throw, so whether you pass or fail it as well. So I'll DM you that. So you're still standing in the clearing, holding this cloak. The memory that you have of the cloak, the reason you know what it is you have seen it before. It was a cloak that Begilia had worn himself, and you know it was also a gift from your mother to him at the time that he told you that as when she took you to him, she gifted him that cloak, and he in turn over the years imbued it with its magical properties.
I'm gonna look at where he flew off and whisper, "I miss you," and tears roll down.
No problem. So you make your way back to without even looking up. You're just looking at this cloak. Without looking up, you make your way back to the camp. You barely look up from the cloak or from the ground. You close the gates. You then return to the tower and return to your post. Nothing's happened. So you almost get the sense that no time has passed in that moment as well. It's kind of an odd feeling. Roll another perception check for your second half of your watch, please.
I'm gonna take the passive of 15.
You seem a little distracted, even with a 15, even with a passive of 15. You're not, because of what's just happened. You're a little bit flustered. You're comforted by what's just happened. Obviously, seeing him after a number of years of not being there, but also the fact that he's come to you now because of obviously this thing that's happened, this prophecy that's been unleashed, has shifted something that's given him the ability to take this form and come to you and aid you in some way. The rest of the night goes without incident. The dawn starts to break. It's now probably 6:30, 7 in the morning. The sky's starting to turn into those sort of oranges and pinks and purples of the morning as the sun starts to rise. And it's about this time you start to think about waking your comrades.
Alright, I'm gonna walk over and knock on the tents and wake my...
You rattle the tents, shaking everyone awake. Everyone emerges from their designated sleeping areas / tents. You've all had a good night's rest. You have regained all of your spell slots and your HP.
Morning, all.
Anybody want some coffee and some mushroom omelette?
Bloody omelets.
I'll give this mushroom omelette a go, see what it's all about.
Mushroom omelette without eggs.
I'll just stick to my meat, thanks, Namaris.
Oh, you're right. I haven't got any eggs. So it's just fried mushrooms this morning then?
Yeah, okay, I guess that will work.
And I think, does Fiona have any coffee?
Well, you have to ask Fiona.
Fiona,
Yes?
did you have any coffee?
I don't think so, actually.
Oh no.
No wonder that's not working. Damn.
That's alright. I have some warg meat to go with it. It's starting to get a bit old. I've eaten a piece, but you guys might want to cook it.
Well, I can do beer or water or what?
That's wonderful, but this meat will be cookable and edible for you. You won't have to waste any of your rations.
Alright, that sounds me.
Can go with your mushrooms.
Oh, yum.
Meat, mushrooms, and beer. Brekkie of champions.
Head will just eat his warg meat uncooked. I have a couple left, so I'm
Right.
getting pretty low on my meat now, though.
Why does it tell me the stream's offline?
Well, you're online for me.
And no, it's just my the bot's saying it's offline, and it shouldn't be.
Don't you normally turn it off during the D&D streams?
I've got a different bot running for the D&D, so it's. I mean, the chat's running, but I got a spam for some stuff and it's not running.
Yeah, apparently our former companions had an accident, so...
Oh no, there we go. Now it's running. That's what we wanted. Right, so got that back up. So, breakfast. So you have no eggs, so you can have boiled or fried mushrooms, I guess. How many mushrooms you got left? Because you seem to have an awful lot of mushrooms.
I'm down to my last 6.
Last 6, okay. So you got 6 mushrooms to cook up for breakfast.
And a slab of warg meat.
And a slab of warg meat. There you go. And does Het's going to cook meat?
Nope, he's handed it to them. I had one for me, and I gave one to them.
Okie dokie.
It's getting a bit old.
Yeah, so you'll be getting a bit past there by now.
It was salted and wrapped in special paper, but it's whiffy.
That's right, yeah. I
Why have
remember
I
now.
still got this dragon horn? No, it's
Am I
alright.
going to have to do a constitution save?
No, you're getting a little bit more hearty now. You've been out and you've eaten some pretty weird shit. So now, by now, I think you're pretty okay. I mean, you know what you can and can't eat, and as long as it's cooked, it's usually pretty good.
Except Head put roofies in it.
Roll a Constitution
Magic
saving throw.
Damn those magic mushrooms.
So you take about an hour to eat, drink, ready yourself for the day. You have, if I remember rightly, about a 6 or 7 hour travel by horse back to Gatton, or you'll be looking at 5 to 6 days back to Vallon from where you are on horseback. Just trying to remember. Let's have a look here. Go back to our big map.
Well, now this camp is done. That was one of our duties, I guess.
Yeah.
We'll be heading.
I'd say 6 days.
North.
So it'll be 6 days by horseback back to Vallon City. Just under 8 hours back to Gatton.
So we go towards Het's thing.
If you're wanting to head to Graven Waste, which where Het lives, Het will tell you that is going to take a journey by ship to either the port town, or probably the closest port town would be that of Blowy, or Blowy, for one of it. I don't know why I would name a town Blowy, but Bloughy, so Blowy.
That's where Russell lives.
Bluffy?
You could say Bluffy. We'll call it Bluffy, just to be different. But yeah, so you're looking at a journey by ship to the port town of Bluffy, and then probably a week's journey by horse from there. Well, probably a week's journey by horse from there to Ardenis, which is where he's from.
That's a fair whack, team. Maybe do we look at taking the trip back to Vallon and maybe seeing if the magic teleportation circle can get us there quicker. Would you know, Namaris, if that will be the way to work it?
Would I know?
You could bypass, you'd know that because of your travels to Valond, you know that if you could find a ship's captain that does not mind not docking at a regular port, that you would be able to port into a cove which is north of Arnis, in the Twilight Jungle, which would save you a long time. It would be an extra day by ship, but breaking port in that cove will mean a 2-day hike on foot to Arnis, where you were from.
Okay, I tell the party that.
So you've got a few options.
Take the quickest route I'll go with.
I reckon sounds like the boat might be the quickest way.
And we get to see water animals.
Yeah, so the boat will take you roughly probably 3 to 4 days at sea, and then like literally a 2-day journey on foot. So it'll be 6 days total. To go the port way, you're looking at 3 days, sort of 2.5, 3 days to the port, and then at least a week on horseback. So that's a long journey. You've got teleportation circle available as far as you know. So that would obviously be a lot quicker. You still have to travel to Valond to get there, so it'll still be at least a week's journey. Unless you're not. I don't think you guys. Was there a teleportation at Gatton? I don't think you guys found out whether there was or not. Actually, no, there was. Malagar did.
You didn't say that.
Malagar did
No,
say.
he did, but he didn't say where it goes.
Yeah, he said that there was one available, but he didn't tell you whether it would cost.
No,
Yeah,
that's right, he didn't.
Yeah, Magladar did say there was a teleportation circle available in Gatton.
So do we use the transport or do we use the ship?
The teleportation circle at Gatton will get you back to Valond. You will not be able to teleport from there to anywhere else in the realm. That much you do know.
I think
It's a guild one, yeah.
I think we should go by boat, don't you?
Well, the fact that the Valon teleporter was able to teleport us how far?
You went to Paham last time, which was in the neighbouring realm of Hatfield. Or Riley.
So I dare say if we go there, we can always still catch the boat. I mean, it will be longer, but it'd be nice to know if we could teleport to location.
Okay.
Head back to the guild and then work out what we're going to do from there.
Yes.
Sounds
Well,
like
Do we have any?
At the same time, it means we can hand in for the bounty.
Yep.
And see if there's any others on.
Good idea. There might be something on the way to where we're going.
Quite possibly. So, it has been settled that you to travel back to Gatton, to the guild house, to then in turn teleport back to Valon City, to hand in your bounty for the bandits at the Valon City Guild. Possibly talk to Thorfey about a possible teleportation to the Graven Waste region of the realm, or inquire about a ship. So, you're going to pack up and head off? Or is there anything else you would like to discuss or do prior?
Flying carpet, maybe?
Flying carpet. You haven't got that far yet, Trash. You might find one of those in like 20 levels or so. I mean, 10 levels or so. Maybe, if you're lucky.
God, that's a long time.
So,
No, that's it. Jumping on the horse's team. Let's get it on.
you
I'm
pack.
going to set fire to the camp before we leave.
Okay, so you just literally set a fire in the tents and the bandit cap walls, or just the bandits themselves?
Break down the tents, throw them on the center fire, and just keep on throwing stuff on that fire.
Okay, so we'll say that takes you maybe all of you pitched in would say it'd take you about an hour and a half to break down all the tents, build a fire big enough to put the bodies and everything on it. So that would say about an hour and a half. So once you've completed that, you collect your belongings. Your horse is already packed, ready to go.
Were you able to get an ear from the captain by any chance?
An ear? Did you need an ear?
For the bounty.
I don't remember. I actually don't remember what you needed to collect the bounty, to be honest. 1 second. Let's have a look here. See if they required anything. Yeah, probably pay to take an ear or a head of the captain, just to be sure. But there's nothing. It doesn't say anything specific. It just says just had to deal with them, basically. Deal with the threat, remove the threat, and you collect your bounty. So, to say proof of it, you can take the head of the bandit captain.
There's an arm sitting there.
You probably need a little bit more than an orc arm or a half orc arm.
We don't know if this was actually them or not. So,
well, it's pretty obvious. I mean, there was definitely sign in the camp of obviously them pilfering villages. Things like that. The loot you got wasn't ordinary loot. This is loot that bandits would not normally have.
Should we rip out his heart?
Up to you. Whether you want to take his heart, his head.
I think I might rip off his head.
I think for proof you need, the face of someone that's probably recognizable.
Should I just rip his face off?
The problem with taking his head, if I remember correctly, someone used the hilt to smash it in.
No, that was the berserker.
Just check it.
Actually, no, he was beaten to unrecognizable death too, I think, by Fiala in ape form, if I remember rightly.
Sorry.
So you probably have to maybe take a weapon. He might have let's say his weapon would be recognizable for the bounty. So you take his, I think he had a great sword. No, he had a long sword. So it was take his long sword and belt and hilt, belt and scabbard, and
take a hand,
or a hand,
an ear, an eye.
There's not much left of the face. You'd probably have to take a hand.
Any rings?
Take a hand. We'll take a hand.
Take the hand and his weapon.
And his
I
weapon.
dare say from that they'll be able to identify.
Yeah, we'll go with that. Just for flavour's sake, you spend a few moments removing the sword hand and the sword from the captain. Now you head on your journey back to the city of Gatton, to the guild house, to Maglador, to secure passage back to Valon City. Who's going to helm the perception checks for the journey? It is daytime. It is a little cloudy. It's clear in some areas.
My rolls have been
I don't mind because I don't mind taking points.
So
I would also like to be active.
give me a travelling order too, if you will.
I'll go in front if you like.
I'll be at the back.
In the front. Sadiq in the back.
Yes, Ed will sit around the middle.
We'll put you that order there. So that's fine. So pretty much everyone who wants to roll a perception check. Probably the easiest way to do it. We'll take an average.
At 20.
So Namaris with a natural 20.
I'll go with my passive, which is 14.
14. Hit.
Me too.
15 for Fiala. Hit.
17 for hit.
And Alessandros.
So I got probably one above my passive.
Yeah. So take that. So what's
So
your passive?
Passive is 13, so
So
yeah, I
14.
got 14, yay!
Well, that's better than... That's not bad. So a pretty good average. Your first couple of hours of travel, you take from back through the forest. Takes you probably about an hour and a half to reach back to the road, the serviceable road that leads to Gatton. It's a nice day. So there's a few people on the road today. Nothing out of the ordinary. There's regular sort of farmer type people with carts with stuff, probably heading towards Gatton markets. People coming back from Gatton direction. heading
Hit
to
waves and smiles at children.
roll intimidation check
He wasn't trying to intimidate them.
with disadvantage. You're a Dragon Ball with giant teeth and you're smiling at kids.
Natural 1.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
Rolled a 1 and a 2.
Yeah, hang on a second. Yeah, a few of the children that you do see, they sort of look at you and get a bit of a fright, duck back behind their parents' skirt or jacket, whoever they're with. Others sort of giggle and smile back. There's a real mixture of sort of reactions you get from the different people or children that you see in your travels. Nothing too serious. I mean, you get the occasional cry from one or two of them, which nothing out of the ordinary for you. You're quite used to it. I mean, you're trying to be friendly, but you get that reaction from time to time.
Nothing's thrown at him. Okay.
No, so nothing really sort of happens with that. The next 2 hours, we get another roll, please, from everybody.
Humans always cry with happiness when they see me.
You're not transmitting.
8. Or actually,
8.
my passive's 10.
So yeah, if it's below your passive, always take your passive.
Passive
Dirty
again.
20 for hit.
Dirty 20. So as long as everyone's over a 10, you should be fine.
19.
Yeah, I got 14.
And Fiela?
Because I rolled a 1.
Wow. Another 1. But yeah, the group as a whole is pretty good. So again, your second 2 hours, much more of the same. It's completely uneventful. I mean, the events that have been happening along here have been the bandits. You notice people are sort of still looking and wary of the road because carts and farmers have been attacked on this road by the bandits. You now probably close enough that you could probably see in the distance the skyline of Gatton. A bit of smoke rising from the city with different fires that are going, probably blacksmiths and things like that, so you can see that off in the distance.
Can I just ask if I can see any mushrooms anywhere?
Roll investigation with disadvantage because you're on horseback.
Oh, that one.
Yeah, you don't see any mushrooms. You're looking, but you can't sort of see anything at all. All you can see is moving ground from horseback, and it makes you a little dizzy. Next 2 hours. Next 4 hours. We'll do a combined check for the last 4 hours before you hit the city gates.
14,
Dirty 20 for hit again.
14, dirty 20, Namaris. 11,
19.
19, Alessandros.
13.
13. Again, completely uneventful, this travel. It's a nice day. You're getting waves and nods from different people along the way. Different sort of, you'll see a few city guardsmen doing patrols as you get closer to the city. They sort of patrol out around the lake. And as you approach the gates are open again. The city's been opened up from what happened when you first arrived. City guardsman recognizes you approach and they give you a nod of recognition and basically wave you through the gate. You get to the stables, you dismount your horses, you take your equipment and gear, leave the horses with the stable. The stable hand there quite happily takes the horses, waters them, brushes them down and does what he's supposed to do. You then walk to the guild house in Gatton proper, and as you approach the guild house door is open, as it normally is. You proceed into the guild hall. Magladar is sitting in the guild hall, having looks to be an ale. Sort of looks up from his drink and he's got a scroll or something in front of him. And spies you and says, you've returned. Glad to see you all not dead. And he sort of gives a bit of a snicker and welcomes you all in to have a seat. And I take it the expedition went well?
Quite well.
Who's got the body part?
Oh,
I do
no,
believe that I picked that up.
you don't hand body parts to me. You'd be taking that back to City of Evldoa. We don't deal with that sort of stuff here. But you'd be doing that there. That's where you collect. That's where you picked up your bounty. So yeah, I don't deal in body parts. Sorry. And he looks a bit squeamish, even though he did examine a dead body not 2-3 nights ago.
Do you identify items?
I can get them identified. We have a mage around here somewhere. If you want to probably take an hour or so, we can definitely get things identified for you.
Okay. We have a dagger and a ring that we're interested in finding out what its properties is, and during that time, I think it's a good spot to sit down and have some lunch or early.
Yes, it's taken 6-7 hours to get here, so you're probably looking to be past lunchtime, probably 2-3 in the afternoon again. So you've definitely earned some food.
Yeah. So basically, hand over the dagger and the ring.
He takes them from you, looks at them, and goes, "Ooh, they're very nice, aren't they? I'll make sure they get identified as quickly as possible." And he sort of stands up, excuses himself, and heads towards his office. And you hear him sort of muttering something behind the closed door, and he sort of comes back and he says, "Right, message has been sent. Someone will be over shortly to identify those objects for you. Anything else we can do for you while you're here? Accommodations are yours. Food, drink, all at your disposal. Bath, yes, we have bathing facilities as well."
You said you had teleportation access?
Yes, we can teleport you back to the City of Evldoa. Nowhere else. So this circle is a guild circle. It takes you back to main guild only, but we can get you back there relatively quickly if that's what you wish.
Can we make preparations for it, please?
Sure thing. Whenever you're ready to leave, just let me know and we'll get it organised for you. Most definitely. So yeah, so he then once again excuses himself and heads back to his office. So you guys are now sitting in the guild house. Time on your hands. You got at least an hour before you can get your items identified. You may go into Gatton to replenish supplies, bathe, eat, drink, whatever you wish to do.
I'm going to do all those happy things.
You're going to do all those happy things.
Yeah, all those happy things.
So we'll stay at the guild house.
So as far as bathing is concerned, if those who want to bathe, there is bathing facilities at the guild house. Cost you nothing. Obviously, it's part of the guild services. If you're going to bathe, that'll probably take you roughly that hour. By the time they heated the water and you have your soak and your wash and everything else, or we get that organised, it'll probably take that hour anyway. So who is bathing?
Good to me. Me.
Yeah, I'm bathing.
So we've got 3 bathers. Alessandra's you bathing as well? We've got 4 bathers, and Hit's going to stink, so... Hit is not bathing. So, Hit is not bathing. In that hour then, those that are bathing, you get your assigned bathing quarters. There is, in fact, 4 baths facilities at this place, so you're quite lucky. You don't have to share with anyone. The big wooden tub sit out in the centre of the room, and obviously a few servants are bringing in jugs of hot water that have been heated over hot coals, and it takes sort of 20-25 minutes to fill each bath with enough water to accommodate, and it's quite hot. It's hot water. It's not warm. It's good hot bath.
I asked the person who's filling my bath if they've got any nice herbs or anything they can chuck in just to smell pretty.
And the servant that's with you, she's quite a young elven girl, half elven girl. She sort of nods, doesn't say anything to her. She just sort of nods quietly and backs out of the room and comes back with a bowl with assorted leaves and flowers and things, and sort of crushes them up and puts them in your bath, and they smell reasonably pleasant. And you all climb into your bath, you soak, you wash, do whatever you need to do. Het, in that hour, what are you doing? While your comrades are bathing, you have an hour up your sleeve.
I'm gonna. Where were my strings getting made? Was that back
They
in
were in
Valond?
Valond. They were back in Valond, yeah.
Yeah,
They would be
that's good.
definitely made by now.
Sweet.
They'll
When I
be
get back to
waiting for
Valond,
you.
I'll do that. I'm looking around the guild house. Is there people here?
There's a few people sort of milling around, sort of in and out of the guild in that hour. Like there's a half-orc fighter fighter type dude comes in. Looks like he's just again passing through. Comes through, collects a few items, and then leaves again after a few minutes. No one seems to be sort of sitting and staying. You get the impression this is probably one of the smaller guild houses, and they don't get a lot of guild traffic here. It's just a kind of almost like a passing through point or just a stop off point. A couple of servants around. Yeah, half-orc fighter. Type person.
Just curious, even when traveling with our team, when we walked into Gatton, do the half-orc get the same look that I do? Like Sadiq, does he get looked at a bit strangely as well, or is it just me?
Yeah, you're actually probably right. I would say roll a perception check. Yeah, give me a perception roll, just to see if you noticed.
Oh, I wasted all my good dirty 20s. 13.
I'd say you went with a 13. Yeah, you noticed that Sadiq did get the odd glance, like not as much as you do. Like you get the impression that half-orcs are probably more common in the area than definitely Dragonborn. Dragonborn in this part of the realms, common. Yeah, in this part of the realms, Dragonborn are definitely not seen very often at all, if at all, in the northern sort of regions of Paradym. You get the impression that in the northern regions is where they see a lot of half-orcs, being that there's probably in the northern mountain regions there are definitely full-orc clans around. So with different raids and things over the years, obviously half-orcs have become a more seen thing than in the past. They still get the occasional glance of disdain because they obviously are a half-breed, and a lot of, especially elves and humans, don't take too kindly to a lot of half-breeds, so they can be quite rude. But at the same time, half-orcs have a reputation for having a temper, so most humans avoid them where possible. And elves are like, they don't tend to try and upset them too much. Not intentionally, not sort of outright outspoken. So, but because you're used to it, you're used to having those looks, you did notice that Sadiq was getting a few as well. Not as many as you would get.
Okay, that's good. I was wondering, I wasn't too sure about half-orcs in this world.
Yeah. And Sadiq, you noticed that Sadiq didn't seem bothered by it at all. He just didn't really care. He was set on his business. He doesn't really give a rat's ass about what anyone else thinks, kind of. He has that air about him.
I'm just going to ask some of the locals in the guild house there, the old ones popping in and out, as they come in and out. Just going to ask them if they've heard of anything going on that's worth talking about. Just general gossip.
Just general gossip? Let's have a look over here. So, general gossip. Of course of that hour, you see the half-orc fighter style, like his leathers and he's got a long sword and shield, and he sort of gives you a nod of recognition as being part of the guild. Comes in out. Then another young warrior comes in, and you sort of talk to him for a few minutes, sort of asking again if they've heard any bounties or any rumors or anything that's coming up. And he sort of says to you, goes, "Oh, well," nothing in this area, but there is a contract that has come up that no one really has taken on. It's a contract for finding a missing person, basically. A woman called Beth has mysteriously disappeared. She just either walked out or was kidnapped or something, but just disappeared from her village and hasn't been seen again.
A-B-E-T-H.
That's it, Beth. The contract price is 2,000 gold to find her dead or alive. It is in the contract. It says she was obsessed with some old ruins called the Tomb of Horrors. And that's about it, really. Nothing more sinister than that at the moment.
And where is this Tomb of Horrors located?
Tomb of Horrors, if I remember correctly, he tells you, is in Grimmarch. The Grimmarch region, which is in the northern regions of... You've heard of Grimmarch because it's north across the sea from Graven Waste.
Ah, sweet. Would I know it through my brothers or my father?
Probably from your father. He's probably told you tales of the Grimmarch region and some of the things that he's done there. You probably haven't heard of the Tomb of Horrors so much, but you know that there's a small town sort of in the area of the Tomb of Horrors, which is Helonde, or Helond, Helonde. There's also a small village of Wybrook to the west. You've also know that Beeple, which is where Sadiq said he was from, is in the area of Grimmarch also. It's in the same region.
Okay. That's good information. Thank you, kind sir.
No problem. I would have taken on.
He
says I would have taken on the contract myself, but I'm a lone contractor at the moment. It seems it's a bit far to travel for me, and I'd rather do it with a group. The Tomb of Horrors sounds kind of scary, and he sort of.
Sorry, what did you say your name was again, sir?
He didn't, but he does tell you. Oh, my name's Jarrett. Jarrett with a T.
Excellent. Nice to meet you, Jarrett. I'm Hit. Thanks for the information.
No
Good to
problem.
see you. Stand alone.
Not a problem. We don't get many Dragonborn in these parts, and I think you're the first Dragonborn we have in the guild as well. So I'm pleased to meet you. And he doesn't seem fazed by you at all. Like even though he's young, you get the impression he's been in the guild for a little while now. But he's not fazed by you in the slightest. He even put his hand out for a handshake at the end of the conversation, and the typical the typical
handshake back too.
Yeah, the typical like warrior handshake, forearm to forearm deal. And,
what race was he?
He was just human.
Do you humans always bathe?
He sort of giggles and says, well, some do, some don't, and you can definitely tell those ones, he says as he sort of quips over his shoulder. He says, it pays to bathe sometimes. We humans can get a little whiffy, if you get my drift.
You smell all the time to me.
And he chuckles like quite loudly as he sort of waves as he leaves the guild.
I just wait till it rains.
So that hour passes, you all return to the guild hall. Magladar is there once again, comes out of his office with your items. You would have seen the mage come in and go to the office in that hour as well. And they both sort of emerge. The mage, again, is an elven gentleman. Long silver hair, really pale skin, wearing sort of dark grey robes. Hasn't said anything. He sort of just walked out with Magladar, arms sort of folded inside his robes, almost like a Jedi without the hood. Just his arms are inside his sort of big billowing sleeves. So Magladar sort of says to you all as he comes and says, "Well, I've identified your items for you. Well, he has, and points to the dude next to him. And when I find my list, I can't remember what it was. Here we go. Yoink. He says to you, the dagger. This is the dagger, fine dagger, silver and bronze. This is called the returning dagger. You will also find out on D&D Beyond. Just type in the equipment list, returning dagger. When you throw this dagger, it will, when it hits a creature, it will automatically return back to the thrower's hand. Quite a nifty trick. The ring, fine silver ring, fine engraving on it of the feather. And the feather is an eagle's feather. If you didn't know, I wasn't sure whether you knew or not, but it is an eagle's feather, and it is the ring of feather falling. So obviously that the wearer of that ring would be able to activate the featherfall spell, I believe.
I think Hat should have that one. He'd go down like a rock.
Funniest thing is, I think you've fallen over more than I have.
I clap him on the back and laugh.
So
No, Hit has no need for the ring.
So you have.
Thank you anyway.
So ring of feather falling and returning dagger. So whoever wants to take those, add them to your item list, or put them into your bag of holding until you can possibly sell.
Well, if no one wants the ring, I'll take that. I was thinking the dagger for Sadiq, seeing it is coated in silver.
Good thinking.
And it is silvered as well.
I'm sure Hit wouldn't prefer a silver dagger.
No, Hit is fine. Thank you for the offer.
Well, I'll take the dagger then.
So just to give even though it probably won't say it in because it's the actual returning dagger is not silver, but I've made it silver. So what we'll probably do in the notes is when you use the silver dagger against undead, it will do an extra 1d6 damage. And werewolves. So anything undead. So zombies, skeletons, werewolves, anything to be considered undead. It will take that extra d6 damage. So we'll just add that to the notes of the weapon when you if you have it equipped and if you use it. And you would know that as with your particular line of work, you would know that silvered weapons are good against undead things.
Supernatural creatures in general, I think.
Yeah, I think fiends as well. So, Evldoa says, well, the teleportation circle is prepared. If you, whenever you're ready to travel, let me know.
Well, you guys all smell like crap. Are you ready?
Well, our business here is done. Let's move on.
Sounds good to me.
So Evldoa then leads you through a door, through the back of his office, down a spiral staircase to a largish, not too huge, but a round room that you go down probably 2 or 3, 4 rotations down the spiral staircase. You reach the bottom of it, and there, laid out on the floor, is familiar to some that have used it before, the teleportation circle. Looks a little bit different than the one you used in Verlond, but the principle's the same. The mage has followed you guys down, and as you guys sort of circle round the teleportation circle, the mage starts muttering some arcane words, some of which you may know hit, some you haven't heard before, and each glyph on the circle starts to light up, tung tung, and glow in that bluish green arcane energy. As the final glyph lights up, the whole thing glows and radiates a bright greenish glow. And Evldoa says, well, good luck on your journeys. May we see you again. And you all step in, and you sort of take a step and almost stumble as you are now standing in the Verlond teleportation circle, still dimly glowing from the arcane energy as you both all sort of step through and sort of take that half step stumble as you come through, taking a bit of a breath. I don't know that Sadiq's used a teleportation circle before, so this may have been your first time. So you sort of feel the effects a little bit more than everybody else. You're feeling a little breathless and a bit head rushy, like you've just been dropped from a great height and sort of come to a sudden stop. And just you feel like your stomach's in your throat a little bit. And standing there, ready to greet you, is none other than Thorfi, the head of the Arcanist Paradym, and Neymaris' dad.
Hello, Dad. How are you?
Well, welcome back. I see you're all well. We're missing someone. Who are we missing? A young feller. The ranger. He was here last time with you, was he not?
Then we're missing two, aren't we?
And yes, the elven gentleman, half elven fighter, Azalan. I quite liked him. Please don't tell me he's dead. I mean, that would be horrible.
No, they can hack the adventuring.
I will find that doubtful with Aslan. I mean, the ranger I could expect. I mean, he was a bit skittery, but Aslan was a fine fighter.
I think he had news from home and had to go and do something.
Oh, well, that makes perfect sense to me. Well, welcome back.
I think he took an arrow to the knee.
Really? Well, that's a shame. That's painful. Was he when he was an adventurer like you, after all?
Yep.
So
I took that arrow to the knee.
Well, and he leads you. He says, "Come, follow me," and he leads you back up. There's 3 sets of staircases, not a spiral staircase. Sort of goes up one side of the room and then comes up the other wall and up and back into the main part of the Arcanus. And it says, unfortunately, that will be the last use of the teleportation circle for some time. We've had an incident, shall we say. We're having to close any outgoing traffic to the portal for a time until the things can be investigated and find out what exactly has happened. Appears to have been a theft. Appears to have been a theft from the Arcanus. A very powerful teleportation spell with the ability to hold the teleportation circles open indefinitely has gone missing. This happened in the last couple of days, so we're just in the middle of investigating to find out what happened. But don't worry yourself about it. We can sort that out. But unfortunately, no more teleportation travel. Really sorry.
I thought that you were going to say that somebody had lost a limb.
Not recently.
Oh.
I mean, we're talking years. I mean, teleportation's not an exact science. I mean, I may be 400 or 500 years old, but it takes time to perfect these things.
I check my fingers to make sure I still have 10.
And everyone who wants to, you can check your fingers and toes, but everyone has all their body parts in the right place.
Fiona, how many have you got?
11. I'm good.
I don't have the
Probably
same
that
as
too.
you, but I'm not sure.
Well, I think Het has like 4.
I have like 3 fingers and 1 thumb claw. That's normal, right?
As far as you know. And Megalodon sort of he chuckles to himself. And he says, is there anything I can do for you here while you're here? I mean, obviously, you've just returned from whatever it was you were doing. I can't remember exactly, but... Neymaris.
We need to teleport to the Graven Waste.
Yeah, well, that's not going to happen, I'm afraid.
Damn, let's worth a try.
It's your best bet now, obviously. Any other mode of transport? Horseback, ship, boat.
Question.
Questions are good. Ask away.
If we hunt down this theft, what's the likelihood of getting transport via top?
Well, depends on the thief, I guess. I mean, if it goes deeper than just a mere theft, we can't open the teleportation circles until we know exactly what's happened and who's behind it. I mean, it could go far deeper than just the thief themselves. It could be working for somebody. It could be organised by the Thieves Guild. If that's the case, we need to hunt down the Thieves Guild members, and that could take weeks.
Looks like we're
Well,
going by
The city
boat.
guard's onto it, though. I mean, we've got mages doing the scrying things, looking into things. The city guard is well into investigations. I mean, Damaris, you know how these things work. I mean, it's all under
We
control.
do.
We do
Well,
have
well-
corpse parts to hand in.
We do.
I just don't fancy travelling by boat for a week.
Well, if you get a fast boat, it'd be less than a week.
Shame we haven't got any dragons flying around.
Maris, hush your tongue. I mean, you don't want dragons flying around. The last time we had dragons flying around, they almost took over the world.
Magic carpet, maybe?
Magic carpet? We haven't seen one of those in 1,000 years. And even if we did, it would take me 6 months to enchant the damn thing.
I'm sorry, Ali. It looks like we're going by boat.
Flying machines, maybe?
Flying what now?
Machines, things that fly.
Do we have any
Are
of
you
those? That's a
you
good
talking
point.
about those infernal dwarven things that they tinker about? No, I'd stay away from that garbage.
Wonderful
You talking about
contraptions.
airship?
No, but ships go in the water, not on the air. I mean, flying ships? Sheesh. What do you think? What do you kids think of next?
I guess, Ellie, you could always sell your soul to a demon and get wings.
Say what?
So Thorfinn then.
Just a joke, Sadiq.
I grab Sadiq's arm and just says, like, no, he's just joking.
Yeah, Sadiq definitely took exception to that comment. His brow furrows deeply and gives you a very intense look indeed. And with that, Thorfinn then turns around and says, "Well, I got things I must do. Glad to see you back. If you need anything identified, all that jargon, you know where to find me." And
Give him a big
Namaris, he leans and gives you a big hug and a kiss on the cheek. He says, "Good to see you still alive." And
Are we taking these items to the guild house? That's
yeah,
right.
and with that, he sort of leans back and grabs you by the shoulders and sort of pushes you back arm's length away and says telepathically, not that anyone's going to hear, and says, "And how are you coping with your newfound abilities?"
I smile with my mind.
You smile with your mind.
It's
Okay.
good. I'm fine. I think I've got the grip
And
of
he
it
sort
now.
of smiles warmly and nods and then goes about his business. So, to the guild house it is. And about this time we will stop for a 5-10 minute break. We're about 9:20. So chat, we're going to take 5 pee break, drinks, all the rest of it, and we'll pick it up at the guild house in the city of Villand. Oh, crap. Oh god, dog's barking. I wonder what he's barking at. So we're at the city of Villand. So yeah, give us 5 minutes, guys. We'll be right back.
Sweet. Hang on, give me
and with my shadow shifting.
Yes, that'd work pretty well. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for hanging out with us again tonight, guys in the chat, guys and girls. We've just had a short break, get back into things, where we pick up the guild members in the guild, actually on the way back to the guild house, to hand in the bounty for the bandit bounty, and secure passage to the Graven Waste. So, you guys leave the Arcanist Paradym, and you head out into the city streets. Again, you're all fairly familiar with the city and the travel between the Arcanist and the guild house by this time. Sadiq, you've done this trip a few times within the city itself. You've sort of been here a few times. You've been in the guild for a little while. You're reasonably familiar with the streets. Namaris, you lead them with confidence. You've lived here your whole life. You know exactly where to go. The shortest route, you just sort of lead them through. It doesn't take you very long, maybe 35-40 minutes to get from the Arcanist to the guild house.
Mm-hmm.
You enter the guild house, and there's your good friend Jeremy, the servant, the elderly servant, the old human. He's there sort of fluffing around the tables as he normally is. Riffin is sitting by the fireplace with his feet up. Seems to be reading something, a book of some description. A few other guild members sort of milling around. No one really stands out. A couple of humans, maybe an elf or two. You walk, as you come in, you sort of glance over at the bounty board. It's become almost a bit of a habit for you. There's a few bounties up there. Nothing, like, it's probably 3 or 4. Nothing seems to be added since the last time you checked. And Riffin looks up. Jeremy sort of catches you first. Oh, hey, how are you doing, Master Het? Namaris, Sadiq, I think it is. Haven't seen you for a while. And you're new, aren't you? The young elf lady girl thing. Druid, that's right. I remember you. And of course, Miss Alice Chandris. Welcome back. It's been a little while since we've seen all of you. What do you need? Can I get anything for you? Drinks, food, a better line of work. Sorry.
Hell for one of your nice sandwiches.
Pretty nice what?
Sandwiches.
Sandwich? What is a sandwich?
You know, with the bread and the...
Oh, a sandwich. Oh, sorry. Must be your accent. Couldn't. What sort of sandwich would you like?
Have you got any mushrooms?
The mushrooms. And you see that the visible look of, oh crap, the almost face palm, the talk of mushrooms again. Obviously, knowing Namaris is obsessed with mushrooms. I'll go see if we have anyone else. I'll see if we got any mushrooms.
Just a meal would be okay. Not really fast. Anything you've got going.
At the moment, we have we've got some boar stew. It's fresh off the cauldron. It's quite nice. Vegetables and bits of chunky meat and stuff. Hit, we got some raw meat for you. Haven't forgot about you. Always raw meat on hand for you. And we've got some fine ale as well, if you'd like to have that. Anybody?
I'll go, but...
Okay, so he takes off, and within a few, probably it takes him about 20 minutes, half hour before he comes back, and he comes back with a large sort of serving bowl with piping hot stew and a few bowls, and he comes back with a plate of raw meat. For you, Het, I think it's raw pig meat. It's pretty good, pretty juicy, it's pretty succulent, and a big pitcher of ale.
Tastes a lot like human.
And he sort of looks at you and sort of he's kind of getting used to your sense of humour and chuckles a little bit to himself as he walks away. Dragonborn. And he just shuffles on along. And Riffin then walks over. And I'm not sure if Fiona or Mr. Pecker have heard the description of Riffin before, but Riffin is a half-orc. Reasonably built. He's an older half-orc. He has definitely seen his fair share of battles, and he just plumps down next to you and goes, "Well, you made it back. Good to see you're all still alive. And how went the Redfield investigation? What was happening up there? We haven't had word from Gatton as of yet, so I assume everything went according to plan. Sadiq, where's the rest of your party? I thought there was more of you."
There was.
Was?
No, yeah. We had a run-in with some undead.
Crap. I wondered whether it was the undead or not. That damn prophecy. I swear it's going to be the undoing of all of us. So, how many died? How did your whole party? Were they?
Everyone.
And
I only survived because of these guys showing up.
And he's visibly upset. You can tell that he takes a reasonable and he invests reasonable amount of sort of time into most guild members and those that sort of stick around for a while. He gets to know them by name, and he you can see he's visibly upset with the news that we've lost some members of the guild, and he says, including the young rogue, what was his name? Oh, I forget. He'd only been a guild member for 6 months. Did he die too? What was his name again? Shit.
Gillian.
No, not Gillian. That's the ranger.
The rogue. I can't remember what his name is either.
I will find out in just one.
Kind of been too important to the crew.
I will find out in just 1 second because I know.
I only knew him for like 10 seconds.
I wrote his name down here somewhere.
Oh,
Was
well, I
his
guess
throat
we
ripped?
didn't know it.
No one really cares.
Yeah, he got his throat ripped out, so
He's Sulla. That's the missing rogue. Yes, I remember his name now. Sulla. He was only young. You say he had his throat ripped out? By what?
Yeah. Vampire underling?
Vampire spawn. Same. God damn it! I mean, God. Who's God? Well, suppose there's nothing we can do about it now. At least did they get a proper burial, or did you have to leave them there?
No, we arranged a proper burial.
That's good. That's good. And the bandits. Any word on the bounty on the bandits? Did you complete that as well?
Pull the hand out and the sword out and go. Is this good enough evidence for?
Well, I recognise that hand. I mean, he's also half orc, so you get the impression he knows most of the half orcs in the area.
I'm sorry.
So I recognise that. Yes, that would definitely be proof enough. He was a nasty one, not very good. Well, I guess payment's in order. And he sort of stands up and says, "Right, give me 1 moment." And he sort of steps back to his office. And
Did we actually? Did you check the sword to see if it was magical?
no, it was just a regular longsword.
Yeah, I did a,
you did a
magic
magic check.
I would have
Yeah.
checked everything in the area.
So, I believe Redfield was worth. Oh, there was no.
I wrote it all down, but I've lost my notes.
Yeah, there was no money value on the Redfield bounty. That was just an investigation for the guild, but we'll probably work something out for that. But the bounty on the bandits was 1,000 gold. So after about 15 minutes, Riffin comes back from his office with a large sack of jingling coins, and he plumps himself back down and grabs a mug and fills it up full of ale and just sits there and downs the whole thing, slams it down on the table and says, "Right," drops the bag of gold there, says, for the bandits bounty, I think we agreed on the agreed price was 1,000 gold. and the Redfield was just an investigation, but the loss of guild members is tragic. And obviously, if it wasn't for you guys, he probably wouldn't have made it back. So he's I'm going to throw in an extra 500 gold for the team. And Sadiq, how would you feel joining these guys permanently and traveling with them for future endeavors?
They seem to be a very well-rounded but weird group.
Aw, thank you.
Totally agree. Completely. That hit is a strange mother. And he looks over at Hit and goes, just kidding.
My one is, what is Namaris's fascination with mushrooms?
Oh, don't get me started. Believe you me, you don't want to know.
I can
I
understand the
wouldn't
meat.
call her well-rounded to her face either.
Yeah, it's probably not a good idea. She has a bit of a
Do I hear any of this?
He sort of winks and he goes, she's got a bit of a temper, that one. You hear it. Whether you react to it or not is up to you.
I just look sideways at Sadiq and just kind of carefully looking at him, thinking.
Thinking what? You cut out.
I said, "You'll keep."
He'll keep what? Griffin sort of looks over you with a grin on his face.
I wink.
She's all right. She used to be city guard. She's as straight as an arrow. Well, most arrows. Got nothing to worry about there. The one you got to watch was that Gillian fellow, but I don't think I'm pretty sure he run off somewhere. I don't think we're seeing him again. But hey, it is what it is. But if you guys are willing to travel together, and obviously young Fiala here, you don't look as nervous as you normally do. That's great. It's good to see. You're obviously making friends and doing things and enjoying yourself somewhat, not dying and everything. But yeah, so where to next for you guys? So we got a few bounties on the board still, unless you've got other plans, things you need to do.
Are there any bounties heading towards Het's homeland?
Looking at the bounty list. No, there is nothing really in that area. Not at this time. There is a bounty for grave robbers in the city of Evldoa itself. Or the looting tombs in the underground catacombs of the city. There is there's one in the Begilia Mountains range, which is actually close to where Fiala's from. Dwarven miners have been going missing in that area.
How much time have we got to get to Hex?
You've transported here. We said 7 to 10 days, so it's taking you a day. So you've probably got 9 days to make it to Ardenis to make it to the ceremony before you're sort of too late and he won't actually get there to be a part of the ceremony.
I think we should maybe make that a priority, guys.
Right, we'll head to Het's. Once that's dealt with, we'll come back and deal with whatever else needs.
So, you're wanting to head where, you say?
The Graven Waste to Ardenis.
Ardenis. Graven Waste. Yes, well, you can... obviously, I dare say you've heard about the teleportation circle incident. Unfortunate. So that means you'll have to travel by ship to Bluffy, or if you had some money, you could probably get them to drop you off somewhere else. Up to you. But there is a ship. There is a ship in the port right now, which would probably suit your needs quite well. The captain's name is Engart Edmar. He's a human. He should.
Engart?
Yeah, Engart Engert. Sorry, my bad. Engert Eangert. Edmur, which Edmur. He is his ship will pretty much take you wherever you want it to go if you have the coin, if you get my drift.
Oh, well, there's a bag of coins sitting on the table, team. Should we divvy that up between us?
So it's 1,500 gold sitting in the bag.
300 each.
How much each?
300.
300 each. There's 5 of us, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
But
So
we
we'll
could, or
divvy
we
that
could
up.
just take it and see what they want for this trip.
What's the one that Ellie has?
Oh, that's the
That's
party
like up
funds.
there.
Yeah, what's the party funds at?
Just a sec. 2,960.
I think that we'll split do the 350 each, and then use the party funds to get to where we need to go quickly.
Might be the way to go.
Right.
That's not including the stuff that we got.
The other stuff can just sit there, but yeah, the gold, I dare say, will get us to where we need to go quick.
I mean, hopefully the ship's captain is realistic and we don't have to force feed him gold through his nostrils.
Well, it's not exactly where I'd be sticking the gold, but...
Do I know this ship's captain?
You've probably heard his name. I don't think you know him. You wouldn't know him personally.
But would
Is
know
he
me?
dodgy?
He's not 100% legit. Like
Guess we have to go and find out.
he has a legitimate. Now, Maris, you'd probably know this. You've had dealings with him with a city guard. He's a legitimate captain. His ship is legitimate. It's a registered ship, but when it comes to the whole taking you where you want to go for gold, he's quite happy not to dock at a registered port to take people where they go for a bit extra coin.
Right.
He is not opposed to bending said rules to help people out for money, basically.
Oh, that's not so bad. Should we go and check?
Yeah,
it out
he's
then?
not a pirate. He's not out to break the law like 100%. Like, he's not out to hurt anybody. He's more doing it to help people out, but it costs, and he wants to line his pockets to help people out, basically. So he won't do it for free out of the goodness of his heart, but it will help people with the right coin. So he's a little dodgy.
So talk to him.
Yeah, so he's a little dodgy.
When we talk to him, maybe Namaris doesn't do the talking. Maybe cooler heads prevail. when we
Maybe
talk to
head.
seamen.
I think head. You're gonna have to be the voice of the party, because you got less chance of starting to foam at the mouth and rage.
That's
I'm in
great.
agreement with that one.
I'm like, excuse me?
And all this while, Riffin's sitting there listening to this discussion, just hand in his face, just shaking his head and quietly sort of giggling to himself.
Het is a fairly charismatic person, but Het's face tends to let him down in the when it comes to people in general.
And
Some
Riffin,
people
look at
like
Fiala.
to something looking more like them.
Riffin speaks up and says, "Well, Master Het, I don't think you're going to have too many hassles with Engert. He's a well-travelled individual. I believe he has family in the Graven Waste area, so he's probably seen more Dragonborn than most people in this area, in Valon City itself. So I don't think you'll have too many hassles, to be honest."
In this case, then, Sadiq, I'll be happy to do the talking, but usually probably not the best idea.
Well, I think being a sailor, probably of a more aged life, you'll probably understand and not really be frightened by your demeanor.
Excellent. Well, I guess if there's nothing else we need from here,
Maybe we
We
could
shall,
take him a
go talk
bottle of
to him.
whiskey.
Hey, and at the same time, if you fail, we always have Namaris.
I
Awesome.
grab his arm.
I love it. So,
I grab Sadiq's arm. What are you trying to say?
You seem to be a
how do you grab his arm? Aggressively? or in what sort of manner do you grab him?
He would think I was being aggressive. I would not.
So, okay, we'll go. Do you resist at all, Sadiq? She's grabbed you quite firmly with the intent of intimidation.
I just look at her and go, I meant it by, you seem to be short-fused.
I take offence to that, young man.
Right, so the grip she has on your arm, you being a half-orc, you're not too worried by the grip on your arm. You're used to being manhandled as a fighter, as a warrior class. Roll an intimidation check for me, and Sadiq.
Nat 20.
Oh Jesus, Sadiq, roll a wisdom saving throw with advantage because you're used to people trying to intimidate you.
Intimidation, so that would be dirty 21.
So 15.
Yeah, so Namaris, she grabs you. You're not really worried about that, but when she sort of says she takes offence to what you've just said, she gets like in your face, like not touching, but gets rather close to your face, and you see that flicker of red fire in the eye, that flicker of rage in her eyes, and you're not fully intimidated, like you're not scared, but you're definitely aware that you've touched a nerve, and you probably either need to say something to calm her down, or maybe just back down completely, just take the high road and just say, hey, look, really sorry, or whatever. But you definitely get the impression she's not impressed with what you've just said.
I then smile sweetly at him, kiss him on the nose, and let him go.
Fuck me. After all that.
I can solve this. And I stand up next to him and say, I can talk, because Damaris has been giving me lessons in how to talk to.
True.
Well, if you want to give it a shot, give it a shot too. But we'll go with Het first, because he's actually from the area that we need to go.
That probably helps, having some knowledge.
Yeah.
But it's good to see you stepping up, Fiela, to the talking level. I can give you some hints too if you need.
and Het grins widely at you in your direction. That typical, like, real dragonborn, wide, toothy grin. Fiona, roll a wisdom saving throw for me, please.
19.
Like, you know there's no malice. I mean, you've been now with the party for a bit of time. You know there's no malice behind that grin whatsoever, but it still kind of makes you a little nervous when he grins like that, because it just, again, you're still getting used to this whole dragonborn thing. But you know it's unintentional. There's no malice behind it. There's no danger at all, but you still get that little pang of nervousness, and you kind of you almost stammer on your word, your next lot of words, but you're pretty good though. It definitely feels better than it has done in the past when you've been dealing with situations like this.
I still secretly want to boop him on the nose, though.
Right, team. Meal's finished. Ale's drunk. Bounty handed in. Griffin wishes you well on your way. Well, team, have you guys come up with a name for yourselves yet? I mean, you're starting to get a bit of a reputation for completing these tasks and doing quite well. You might want to consider naming yourself, I guess. I mean, if you want to, no big deal.
What have people been saying about us?
We've been hearing stories come back about this group of misfits, new members of the guild that are doing quite well in helping people out. I mean, we heard about I've heard about the incident in Gatton where you helped the township of Gatton when you really didn't have to. I mean, you did get paid, but you still didn't have to do it. And you stayed and helped the town with their problem, and obviously bringing the guild members back from Redfield and ensuring a proper burial. Not just everyone would have done that. I mean, I'm grateful for that. I knew those men reasonably well. Excuse me, Ale. So, yeah, I mean, word is reaching me quite every time you guys do something that you're doing a good job, and I'm quite proud to have such members of our guild.
What do you reckon to hits hellhounds?
Hits hellhounds. Interesting.
Sounds rather dark.
It does, but hits hellhounds, you say? I don't know if that's quite.
As for whom?
What was that, Alejandro's?
Misfits.
Hits misfits. Well, you are a bunch of misfits, really. I mean, look at you all. I mean,
Why
half
does Hitch have to have his name at the start?
they obviously look up to you, Mr. Hit. I mean, Mr. Hit, they obviously consider you a leader of some description, I would imagine.
Just sounds good.
It's up to you guys. I mean, if you don't want to
I
name
just see the
yourselves,
dregs of society.
if you don't want to name yourselves, you don't have to. This is something I thought of. Might be easier to give you a name so I can sing your praises to other people, I guess. Up to you. Let me know, anyway. Happy travels.
The Fantastic Five. Is that taken?
Oh.
Alright, Enid Blyton.
Are we allowed to have that on Twitch? Is that a breach of copyright? I'm not sure.
We're pretty sure it's breaching something.
Yes, well, who said that? I don't know where that came from. But wish you all the best. He raises a cup of ale. Wish you all the best on your travels. I'm not sure why you're having to go to the Graven Waste, but hopefully it's for nothing too dark and sinister. Good luck. And he spins on his heel and heads back to his office. Right.
You know, he makes a valid point, team. We should probably come up with a team name at some stage. Mind you, we do work for the Black Lion. We could just come up with a lion-based name.
As for
Alliance.
whom?
The Lions Misfits.
The Lions Misfits. Holy shit.
I was going to say name Mars 5. It sounds like the famous
Suicide Squad.
5.
Suicide Squad. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we can't say that either.
I think about that one.
Have a think about it. Have a think about it, guys. So, team. Meals drunk. Meals eaten. Food, drinks drunk. All that shit. You now make your way towards the port area of the city of Villand. Now, Maris again shows you the way. She's been here many a time. You make yourself to the dock ward. You probably need to go to the inner dock ward next to Ravensville Farthing, which is on the map as we speak on the screen.
No, it's not.
It is so. Just it might take a while for you guys to get there.
Oh.
So
Hey, there it is.
So you got dock ward here next to Ravenwall's Farthing. That is where Riffin said that the ship would be docked. You are looking for, when I find my notes on the ship, you are looking for the Monarch's Wrath.
Monarch's Wrath.
Or Wrath. Monarch's Wrath. It is a three-mast galleon, passenger ship, as well as a passenger cargo ship, also, but it is armed. It does have cannons aboard. So it is able to defend herself against pirates. Information that you would know, Namaris, having dealings with the captain, Ingert Edmure.
Is the boat's name written in common?
The boat's name would be written in common. Yes, it would be easily. Well, you get to the dock and there's a few smaller vessels there, a couple of fishing boats. There's one other galleon, not so much a galleon style, slightly smaller two-mast ship in the docks as well. But you easily pick out the three-mast galleon without even really seeing the name from entering the dock ward, and it stands out. She's a large vessel. She's been built out of dark timbers, almost a greyish ash grey timber. And across the which is the bow, stern. Across the stern of the vessel is a big bronzed plaque with the Monarch's Wrath in nice common script.
Ooh.
And there's a few people floating around the docks, loading things onto the boat. Some are taking stuff off the ship. Sorry, and you do see a man that Namarashi would recognise as Engart standing by the gangplank.
Oh, there he is.
Okay, I'll go into, well, follow me, team. Fiala, take notes.
Got it.
He just strolls on up. Is he standing by the gangplank?
He's just standing by the gangplank. It looks like he's whittling something out of wood. He's got a knife, a dagger out, and he's sort of looks like he's just carving something. He's sort of standing there, supervising his crew taking things on and off the ship.
So Hit rolls up to him, strolling quite briskly, and says, "Excuse me, my good man, is it Engart?" And
he looks up, and what you see when you walk up to him is a tall, thin-framed. He's not like built, but he definitely looks like he's got a bit of muscle on him. Obviously been at sea for quite some time, but he's a real thin-framed male human. Dirty blonde hair, wearing a dark blue naval-style jacket with all the buttons and things down the front, and the long sort of sleeves that sort of billow out at the cuff, almost like the old pirate-style jacket, but it's more military style. Wearing tight dark blue sort of linen pants, and wearing the sort of knee-high buccaneer style boots. Again, almost very piratish looking in the way. He's got the tri-brim hat, and a bit of a probably 5 or 6 days old worth of growth on his face. Nothing, just like a little scraggly beard sort of growing in, nothing too thick. And he looks up, sort of gives you a bit of a grin, and sort of spins his dagger around and sheathes it, puts the bit of wood into his pocket, and stands sort of upright, and says, why yes, I'm Engart, how may I help you?
He extends his hand like in the old forearm handshake sort of position.
And Engart, he reciprocates. So, pleasure. What can I do for you today?
Well, I'm Hit. This is Namaris, Fiala, Sadiq, and Alchandras, and we're actually looking for passage if you're heading that way, to the Graven Waste.
Passage to the Graven Waste, you say? Well,
that's correct.
You looking to dock in at Blowfay then, or are you looking for another passage?
Well, it's funny you should say that. We'd like to get as close to Ardenis as we can.
Ardenis. I know Ardenis well. There's a cove north of there, I believe, that for the let me see now. For a few extra coin, I can take you into the cove north of Ardenis. Take you a couple of days, on foot to get there, but I think we can manage.
What's your number, good sir? Tell me your number, and let's see if we can work out a price.
Interesting. How many you say you with your party there?
There's 5 of us.
5
in the party, and
we're looking at probably 5 or 6 days travel. 5 in your party. Well, how about 500 gold? 100 gold apiece.
500 cold hard cash. What do you think, team? Is that fair?
That's actually quite a good price.
Yeah.
I'm here to help. I'm not trying to rip anybody off. I just want to make a bit extra coin, so it's all good. Did you say something, Lassie?
No,
I didn't quite hear you. I'm sorry, you're a bit soft spoken.
Your discount?
A discount for what?
And guild.
It's not a part of our guild.
Which guild would that be?
Oh, we work for the Black Lion.
Oh, the Black Lion. No.
Can we check if he's being deceptive?
If you want to make an insight check, go for it.
Nat 20.
Holy crap.
He seems 100% above board. He's willing to help at a fair price. You get the impression that 100 gold per person for 6 days 6 days travel on a ship is probably relatively cheap. He seems pretty much above board.
Hit sees the team roughly agreeing and says, "It's a deal, and we'll throw in Neymara's cooking every day as well."
He looks at Neymaris and he looks at Neymaris and he recognizes her straight away. He hadn't really noticed her until now, and sort of says, "I don't know if I want her on my ship. I've had I don't want any trouble with the city guard. And he gets a little stammery. He's a little concerned about Neymaris because he doesn't know that she's not a part of the city guard anymore. As far as he knows, just because you're still wearing the city guard robe, so he says, like, I can't help you. I don't want any trouble with the city guard. I'm sorry, and he goes to turn and walk away. And
I just grab his arm and hang on. I'm not actually traveling as part of city guard anymore. I left that quite while. I'm part.
But you're still wearing the cloak. I assume you're still part of the guard. I don't want any trouble. I'm just trying to help.
Oh no, these days I'm part of the Adventurers Guild, and while I'm still in for the justice for all, I'm kind of happy for our party if you'll help.
Well, I'm all too willing to help. But like I said, 500 gold, whole party. I got my own cooks, so I don't know if I trust your cooking. Sorry. I got my own cooks. He does a fine job. I think he'll be fine. But 500 gold, and we can sail with the tide if you're ready. Tide we'll be ready to sail in about an hour.
Excellent, Ellie. Bring forward the coffers. We'll pay the man.
Don't do it here. Wait till you're on board. We'll do it in my cabin on board. You can't make these kind of you can't make these kind of transactions on the docks. It's just not how we do it. And he says, I trust you, because if you don't pay up, we throw you overboard and feed you to the sharks.
I'd like to see you try.
That's fair. No. He puts his hand in front of the Mars.
And he says it with a grin. It's like it wasn't threatening in any kind of manner. It was kind of like, yeah, well, you're going to pay because I know you're going to pay, or we will throw you overboard. But you know that he means what he says, but it's in a kind of a humorous way.
No, that is fine.
Shark?
Oh yes, you'll see lots of sharks, lovey. Occasional dolphin, maybe a whale or two. Luck we have it, we won't see any krakens or giant dragon turtles or anything like that. They're fucking horrible beasts. We don't want to see any of them. We don't want to see any mermaids or harpies. Anything that flies that's bigger than an eagle. If you see that shit, I'm hiding below decks and my crew will take care of it. We have got cannons,
Ellie,
we got weapons.
Oh,
You
God.
better not have any harpies. I mean, no harpies getting on my boat. Harpies are evil wee creatures, I tell you.
Sure are.
And they're not very wee either. They're quite large. So, do we have a deal? See you in an hour, and we'll be sailing towards the Graven Waste.
So you're happy for us to get on the ship then?
Whenever you're ready. We set sail in an hour. If you got anything to do, now's the time to do it.
Thank you, kind sir.
Excuse me, sir. Do you have
Yes.
mushrooms?
No, we don't have any mushrooms. We have apples. We've got wheat for making bread. We've got rum. Lots and lots of rum. Gotta have rum for the boat. We've got dried meats. We don't carry much fresh meat because it goes off very, very quickly at sea. So it's got to be dried. Sorry. And he looks at you. He looks at you when he says that, and you get the impression he's dealt with Dragonborn before. So we could probably supply you with a couple of days of fresh meat, but after that, no. You could fish off the boat and get some raw fish. I don't know if you like that though.
Sushi.
I don't eat the raw fish. It's disgusting. But you might like it. Who knows?
I'll make do.
All right then, it's settled. We sail in an hour. And he sort of claps you on the shoulder and says, meet me in my cabin in an hour and we'll be off and we can do the whole thing, money thing. And he lets out a loud whistle, and a lot of the deckhands and that on the ship and people taking things on and off to perk up. Set sail in an hour! Prepared to cast off! And people start milling around doing bits and pieces, checking sails and getting everything ready. So you've got an hour. If you want to do anything, you have an hour to do stuff before you board, or you can board straight away.
So how did you think that went, Fiala? Did you learn anything?
Yes, you're a pretty good teacher. Do we need to learn any certain manners or anything for your family? I don't want to insult them.
I don't think so. Most of you are probably like my mother. And most of you will probably hate my father.
Why do you think we'd hate your father?
Oh, he's
And your mother.
He's very angry and abrupt. My mother's more like you. Well, not you, Sadiq. She looks more like the rest of you.
What is your...
So your mother's human and your father's what?
My father's a dragonborn like I am. But my mother, no, she's not human. She is a, what do they call an ASMR? She is a angelic being.
Ooh.
So, Sadiq, roll an intelligence check. And Fiala, roll an intelligence check. Neymaris, you've heard of the ASMR because of your teachings with Thorfinn. Alishonus, roll an intelligence check as well, please.
Where do you think I get my beautiful voice from?
your throat?
15.
15. With a 15, you've heard of the ASMR race. You've never seen one, but you have read about them again within the order. You've heard that there has been ASMR in your order, and yeah, they're indeed angelic beings, beings of angelic blood. They can go either way, to light or darkness, depending on a lot of different sort of factors. But you've definitely heard of the ASMR race. You've just never seen one. Fiala, what was your roll?
I raised an eyebrow and looked dumb because I rolled a 2.
Yeah, you've all the time you spent in the forest, you've never heard the term ASMR. But you like the whole angelic being thing. You think, oh, well, that sounds kind of cool. And Alessandros, intelligence check for me.
18.
18. In your travels, you've come across an ASMR or two. You've met a couple of them in your travels. Seemed like nice enough people. They didn't treat you any differently than most people normally do. So you had no negative interactions with them. And the two that you did come across, you did notice that they were very, very pretty people. One was male, one was female, and they were both really attractive. Like, you weren't attracted to them sexually, but they were really attractive looking people. Smooth features. Just there was something about them that just sort of almost draws you into them. So you've definitely heard and seen of the ASMR.
While you guys are thinking about that, I look at Het and I'm like, so your dad's not a dragon?
No, he is. He's the dragonborn.
Alright. So his dad was a dragon?
No one's directly from a dragon. The dragonborn were created, and it goes into long detail about how the dragonborn were created to fight the dragons, yada yada yada.
Yeah, so essentially the dragonborn were created by dragons to serve, protect, and eventually they essentially became a part of the last great dragon war, and were fought against the dragons. And you'd probably know that already.
I fought probably
with your
did, and I'm
studies,
looking at him
yeah.
going, so you didn't hatch from an egg then? Well, that's a bit of a bum.
Well, no, he actually did.
He did?
That's how Dragonborn are born.
Neymaris is having a bit of a blonde day today.
But see, you'd probably know that already anyway.
Are
I
we
was
gonna
just
see dragon babies?
Dragon
Probably
baby,
not.
probably.
My parents are quite old now. I am the 7th of their children.
Oh, you're the youngest?
Yes, you would be correct.
I'm not going to ask how old you are, because I just feel I should know this already.
No, you haven't. I don't think you've.
Probably wouldn't.
I don't think you've asked his age before.
How old are you?
That's rather... I don't know. How old are you?
I don't tell you this.
She doesn't know her own age.
I know how old I am. I just
I'm
it's a rude
23.
question. Then, dear lady, you're older than me.
Oh, really?
I am all of 21 years. But that's
All right.
pretty old for a dragon.
Oh, well, how old do you guys usually get?
Not as old as average humans. We usually hit 70 or 80, and that's about it at the best.
Oh, wow.
Dragonborn, not dragon.
Right, so this discussion's probably taken about half hour, 35 minutes. By the time you sort of go through these bits and pieces, and Ingert stands at the top of the gangplank and says, "Right, we're almost ready to cast off. Are you guys coming or what?"
Oh, what? Oh, sorry, what?
I thought we were yakking as we walked up the gangplank.
No one said that. As far as I'm concerned, you were all standing at the base of the gangplank, chatting away.
Okay, we make our way up
On the ship.
mountain.
You're on the ship. Ingert welcomes you aboard the ship and says, "Right, there's cabins below. Help yourself. We've got no other passengers. This trip was strictly a cargo voyage. So help yourself to the quarters below. Dinner will be whenever we decide to fucking cook it, I guess. We don't on any strict timelines. It's going to take us about 6 or 7 days, depending on the wind, and we'll get you to the cove north of Venice. I hope that this travel is not one for anything negative. Do you mind if I ask why you're heading to Venice? You said you were from there, yes?
That's correct. I'm from there. The others here aren't, but...
Well, I kind of figured.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
funny
there's
you
not many non-Dragonborn in Aranese. It's mainly a Dragonborn city. I've been there a few times.
Yes, well... It's funny you should say we're not going for something negative. We tend to be going there for something negative.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to strike a nerve or anything. I didn't mean to pry. It just was general conversation. I am sorry to hear it's a negative journey, but hopefully it'll be a pleasant one. It doesn't look like it's going to be rain or storms for the next few days, but we will set sail here in about 15 minutes.
That's good. Is there anything you need us to do to help on this journey?
Well, you could help out. You could help out the crew with the sails if you like. We need to hoist the sails to get us moving here. You can get on some ropes and hoist the mainsail if you wish. Hey, if you want to help out, makes the journey go smoother.
You might be able to help with that. 'cause I feel
But
like
before
I
we
could-
go, we got a little matter of money to settle up. Follow me to
Right,
my
let's do
cabin.
it.
So he'd lead you off to the rear of the ship, and where there's a couple of sets of stairs. You'll see a ship on your screen about now. You will see there's a couple of sets of stairs that sort of go up to the top of the ship, and in between there's a double doors that leads into the captain's cabin. And he leads you in there. Big ornate desk. It's got charts and stuff strewn all over it. And he sort of gets a key out and opens up a drawer next to it and says, "Right, we just have to get someone in your group to sign this wee contract, just to so it's nothing major, just to agree that you're going to pay me 500 gold to take you to a destination, and we go from there." And
All right.
so he hands you over the thing. And it's just a basic contract saying that we agree to pay X amount of gold coin for said passage. It's going to take X amount of days. blah, blah, blah. You read over it, and it's pretty straightforward. There's nothing untoward about it.
Team, are you happy for me to sign this on our behalf?
Yes.
Excellent. I make sure there's no fine print, and then I sign.
There's no fine print, nothing to hide, not as far as you can tell. You sign it, he sort of grabs it, looks at it, rolls it up, says, fine, chucks that back in the drawer. 500 gold, please.
Ellie, can you bring out
hand over the money?
funds? That'd be
So
lovely.
remove 500 gold from party funds, and he takes that bag, shoves it in the drawer, closes the drawer, locks it with the key, puts the key back in his pocket, and says, right, the ship is yours. You can help out if you wish or not, up to you. But we're about to set sail, so hang on to your britches. And so, yeah, after about 10 or 15 minutes of him shouting orders and crew sort of running backwards and forwards, they pull up the mainsails, and sort of the dock hands throw off the dock ropes, and everything sort of, and the ship pulls away from the dock, but it sort of nice and slowly and smoothly, and you sort of head out towards the open ocean. And you are heading...
Have we ever been on a ship before, any of us?
Fiala and Het, you both have been on ships before to get to Valand, considering where you're both from. Sadiq, you've probably been on a smaller vessel, probably like a single mast fishing boat to get to the mainland from where you're from. And Maris, you've never been on a boat. You have spent a long time around boats, around with a city guard, but you've never actually been on a ship. Again, probably a small fishing vessel doing some fishing and stuff, but that's about it. Alessandros, where were you from again? I'm trying to remember. You're from over there. So you've probably been...
Beaufort.
Yeah. So you've probably, again, seen vessels. I don't think you took a ship to get to Valand. I think you travelled over land. So you've probably been on a smaller vessel. You probably never been on the open ocean.
This is new to me.
This is fairly new to you.
I'm running all over the place. Whoa, look at this.
Make a Constitution saving throw for me. Just because. Yeah. Anyone that hasn't been on the open ocean. So, Namaris, Sadiq, and Alessandros make Constitution saving throws. Right now in the harbour, you're probably not so bad. As you pull out of the harbour and head out to the open ocean. 18. You're pretty good. Your sea legs. Anyone over a 15, you a little bit unsteady on your feet to begin with because you're not used to the movement of the boat. But you take to it pretty good. You think, oh, that's actually pretty cool. The sea breeze, the smells of the sea air, the sound of the ocean, and you hear the seagulls still because you're still close enough to shore to hear the seagulls and all those ocean type sounds. And you're pretty good. What about you?
Those under 15?
Those under 15? Those under 15, how much under 15 are we talking?
When do I start throwing up?
How much under 15?
I'm 13.
13?
I'll make that, sorry, 12.
12? Even in 12, not too bad.
I'm looking green, aren't I?
You look a little bit green around the gills, but you're not sick. It's going to take you a while to find your sea legs.
Okay, that running around, yeah.
After a little while, you start to feel it. You think, oh shit, maybe I shouldn't have done that. Whole running around thing for a while was kind of. You sort of stop after a bit, and you feel a little queasy. You start heavy breathing. You sort of lean over the side of the boat on your elbows on the rail, and sort of just as it rocks back and forward and gently. Because it's not rough, but you're kind of a little queasy. Not too much. I think you're fine. Pretty sure I had a boat sound in here somewhere. I've got a ship in a storm. Don't think it's stormy yet.
throwing up
I,
sounds.
I like that. Yet.
Yeah, not yet. I don't think I have a ship sound actually, or a boat. I got Carb C. That'll do.
I wander over to Ali and pat her on the back.
No, stop! Don't.
I think maybe we should ask for some rum for you because that might settle your stomach.
Oh, no.
Yeah, the dry retching starts about now. You now hit the open water, and I think it's going to take you probably about an hour or two before you start feeling right because it takes you to get your sea legs. So yeah, you start dry retching a little bit. You haven't provided any ground bait yet, but it's coming. And guys, that is where we will end tonight's session with our party heading off out into the open ocean on their travels towards the Graven Waste to head to Het's home of Ardenis and to his family. Thank you everyone for hanging out with us again tonight. Another good show. Nothing too dramaish happened tonight, which was not too bad. We did have some amazing RP. So guys, I'm going to give everyone 500 XP for the RP because I think you guys deserve it. It was awesome. So if you level up, make sure you do your HP. Make sure you get any new spells and everything like that. I'll double check your sheets before the next show so I can update any stats. Also too, again, if you are looking at some homebrew content, don't hesitate to DM me about homebrew spells, feats or anything like that, because we're quite happy to add some stuff in. So Fiala/Yanti did just that this week. We got some cantrips and bits and pieces added in for her spell list for when she levels up and stuff as well. So that was actually pretty cool. Some cool spells. And I noticed she took one of my homebrew spells, one I created for my character in our game, Het. She's taken on the gift of the Ashari, so that's actually a pretty cool spell. So, on that note, ladies and germs, that is it for us this evening. We will be back in 2 weeks' time for our next episode, which will be episode 15. Het Returns Home will be the title of that episode. And hope to see a lot of you back again. Tell your friends, tell your family. Definitely come back and see us. We do this every second Sunday. We announce it on Twitter. I announce it in the Discord. Also game 5 nights a week, Monday to Friday. So if you're into gaming, we're going to do some Apex, some Ring of Elysium. We've got Call of Duty Modern Warfare coming out in 2 weeks' time. We're going to be doing that. So definitely come back and see us. Until then, cheers guys. Have a good night, and we'll see you again.